Good evening and welcome to Honeoye Falls-Lima, James Dollar Athletic Stadium, where tonight we have Section 5 Class B football as the 5-1 Honeoye Falls-Lima Cougars host the undefeated 6-0 Batavia Blue Devils. I'm Peter Carosa, as always, joined alongside Steve Bradley for tonight's exciting matchup between two blue bloods of Class B.
Absolutely, Peter. We know that when the schedule came out, this is the game a lot of fans across Section 5 circled on their calendars. Season's played out close to how we thought it would. They're both 1-2 in the Class B power seedings heading into this week. Rematch of last year's Section 5 Class B final. Perfect night for football. I think everybody's ready to go.
So we are just about 90 seconds here until the teams are introduced. So we'll take a quick look at tonight's keys to the game, brought to you by Bullfinch Fund. First key, Friday Night Lights. If you couldn't tell, they're on tonight.
They are on. The sun is down and the spotlights are on. Big game, and this is really, Peter, about which teams come to play. The Cougars suffered their first loss of the season at Monroe last week. Get a little slow out of the gate. Batavia has outscored its opponents 137-7 in the first half this year. Both teams need to come out ready to play.
Second key to tonight's game, contain the A-Train. Aiden Anderson, who was a 1,000-yard rusher a season ago for Batavia, has been somewhat banged up, but we expect to see him a little bit more tonight. Still might not be quite 100%, but he's going to be the key to this Batavia offense. He's only had 19 carries for just over 9.5 per carry this season, but looked for him to get a lot of carries early tonight, and for the Cougars, they're going to have to find a way to stop him.
Right. Anderson has had a leg injury, but he does have elite speed for Class B. Had 109 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Can't let him break free if you're the Cougars. And the third key, Peter, finish off drives. And this is more directed towards the Cougars, who last week had 5 turnovers in their game at Monroe, lost 27-6. And we're stopped inside the red zone. We've seen them be pretty efficient in the games that we've done this year, but if they want to hang tough with Batavia all night, they're going to need to find the end zone.
So the buzzer just sounded here at HFL. It's youth football night at Honeoye Falls, and we have representation from the youth football leagues here locally in the Honeoye Falls-Lima Central School District.
And
cheerleaders.
And, it's exciting. You can feel it. And this is a lot of what Coach Russ has brought to the program as he's grown it. He wants the young players from Manor School coming up to feel like they're a part of the program. So when it's their time to shine in high school, they've been a part of it. And Ryan Gary has talked about how he remembers being one of the young players, looking up to all the varsity players. And now there's just, really a next generation out there on the field getting to experience what it's like to play here on Friday nights.
And here come the Batavia Blue Devils, coming out of the north end zone here. As we mentioned, they are 6-0 with some big wins over other Class B opponents, including Wayne, Livonia, Monroe, Bishop Kearney, Pale Mac, and then last week's 41-20 victory over Dansville, Wayland, Cohocton.
And as we mentioned, a lot of the things Batavia has done have been in the first half. We've had a great conversation with Coach Brennan Briggs earlier this week. Talked about his dad being a coach and respecting the opponent, and totally expecting a 4-quarter game here. And I think, Peter, as the game goes on, neither of these teams have been tested consistently throughout the season. So I think, endurance and fatigue might come into play later in the game if this plays out how we think it might.
And to the delight of this home crowd, here come the home Honeoye Falls-Lima Cougars from the south end zone. And a quick look at their schedule thus far. A lot of common opponents as the Blue Devils. They beat Bishop Kearney week 1, then defeated Wayne, Pal Mac, Geneva, Newark, Marion, and then ran into Monroe, suffered a 20-7 loss last Saturday afternoon. So they're looking to rebound after that one. As we mentioned, Batavia did play Monroe on September 15th earlier this season and took care of business against them 28-6. So it's hard to gauge teams by one game, but it's certainly going to be an interesting one. Obviously, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, these two teams have a bit of recent history playing one another in the Section 5 Class B championships the last 2 seasons.
And also that classic one-point game in Batavia last year, 27-26. JT Killenbeck with the knockdown in the end zone to preserve the game for the Cougars. We asked Coach Briggs from Batavia about the Cougars and the Monroe game. He said he was there. He said it's forgotten. It's totally different team, totally different game plan. What happened last Saturday at Monroe, he doesn't think is going to influence this game that much.
Yeah, we had a chance to ask him how much does that influence his game plan, and he said, for starters, we have our Batavia brand of football we're going to play. We're not going to try and copy what Monroe did successfully against the Cougars. We're gonna do our game plan, and as far as he was concerned, like you had said, it was just a hiccup potentially for HFL. And
I think Coach Russ felt the same way. The turnovers were really the story, but 2 of the interceptions in that game, Peter, were batted up at the line of scrimmage and intercepted, and that's credit to the D linemen for getting their hands up, but there's also a little bit of good fortune involved in plays like that. But I think the bounce back is real. That was the first time last week that the Cougars had trailed all season, and I think Coach Russ was hoping that the response was a little bit different, and given the way Batavia scores points, if the Cougars are going to hang in this tonight, it will need to be different.
So before the coin flip, we will have the national anthem sung here at Honeoye Falls-Lima. We'll be playing a recorded rendition by the Honeoye Falls-Lima Select Choir. And it will be performed here locally by a pair of HFL Select Choir seniors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Beautiful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner here at HFL, and we are about ready for the coin toss, Steve.
We are. And, Peter, we've talked about this. A lot of times we see teams defer. I think the winner of this coin toss is going to want the ball and take the ball to set the tone early. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're completely agree. I think this could be whoever has the ball last sort of game. So we'll take a quick look at tonight's captain, starting with the visiting Batavia Blue Devils, number 44, Aiden Anderson, number 5,
Cooper Fix,
number 55, Matthew McQuethy, number 1, Javen McFollins, number 54, Garrett Schmidt.
And Garrett Schmidt, Peter, will be a player to watch. He's one of the inside linebackers on that Batavia defense, leads the team in tackles, and we asked Coach Briggs about him. He says the inside backers are really the key. He says he just has a nose to the football. He flies to the football. Garrett Schmidt's also a wrestler, so he's a very sure tackler. He's good at takedowns and wrestling, and he's good at taking down opposing running backs.
So for the Cougars, it's number 56, Carson Joint, number 50, Ryan Gary, number 9, Colton Miller, and number 6, quarterback Matthew Meacham, rounding out the captains as we have the coin toss. It looks like we have a celebrity out there on the field tossing the coin tonight. Looks like Batavia has won the toss. They have elected to receive, so Steve, nice job calling it.
And we did not have any heads up on that. That was all our own, bringing our track record to about 1-12 over the course of time, Peter. But, yeah, I think both these teams want the opportunity to score first, get ahead, and make the other team chase a little bit.
So the Cougars are going to be kicking towards the south to start the game. And I believe the coin flip was by Joe Bucciarelli, owner of Main Street Cafe, one of the sponsors of the MHFL Sentinels broadcast. Hard to tell from where we are tonight if that's him, but it looks like him from a distance. So
now, was he a teammate of Coach Russ's back in the day?
I don't know if their time overlapped or not, but they were that similar era, I'll say.
And a big hug for Joe from number 52, Austin Krigo, too. So
Main Street Cafe did host, I believe, a breakfast or a lunch for the Cougars earlier this season, as we have an opening kickoff here. Of course, brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120. And we have both teams sent back off to the sidelines, so maybe a little bit too eager. Tonight's game also being carried on other media outlets, so that might be a factor in some of the extended timeouts here tonight.
More time for us to talk. And thank our sponsors, too. It's a win-win, right?
A lot of coverage for this game, circled on a lot of people's calendars at the beginning of the summer when the schedules were released. There was various media outlets at the schools throughout the day. There was pep rallies at both districts.
It's perfect, right? That's what you want high school football to be. You want your community to be involved. You want your school to be involved. And you want this kind of excitement heading into the Section 5 playoffs, which start in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Russ, and he said they're developing a good rivalry with Batavia. They respect each other, and what they do and what the kids are doing is getting a lot of people excited. So,
yeah, the mutual respect is across the board. We know that Coach Russ and Coach Briggs, they don't talk during the weeks when they play each other, but they bounce ideas off each other. And both of them are certainly all about their programs, but they're also all about growing Section 5 football and New York State football, because a lot of people historically, and I think rightfully so, have thought that maybe the football in New York State has been a little bit underrated and some really good players may have been overlooked at times. So back deep for Batavia is 44 Anderson back deep.
Yeah, I believe it should be number
24 McFarland's on the far side, I think.
And
Arroyo, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like number 4, Vincent Arroyo.
So I think what we want to watch with Anderson, too, is a little bit to see if he's on a little bit of a pitch count as he's getting more healthy. Coach Briggs told us his really first serious game action was the first half of last week's game against Danville Wayland Cohocton, where he had 109 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So the ball is on the tee, just awaiting the whistle from the referee here to get this underway. The visiting 6-0 Batavia Blue Devils at the 5-1 HFL Cougars. Trent Wagger, ball on the tee. There's the whistle. And away we go. Kick is up in the air. That's going to be fielded by number 24. That's Carter McFarland, who breaks it loose. A lot of space in front of him. Just has got to beat the kicker, and he's going to be dragged to the ground at about the 25-yard line. Huge opening kickoff here for the Blue Devils.
Spectacular return there by Carter McFarland. Went right up the middle, broke a tackle, got by the first wave of blockers, and went about 30 yards. Trent Wager, though, Peter, did a good job of just getting in his way and slowing him down to prevent the touchdown.
So let's take a look at the player to watch on the HFL defense here tonight. Number 56, Carson Joint, middle linebacker. He's going to be in the middle of a lot of action tonight. Also plays starting center as the Blue Devils come out in shotgun. Going to be a handoff to Anderson. Straight ahead, he's going to be tackled by number 51. That's Owen Eggert for HFL.
Great job there by Owen on that first play.
And here's a starting lineup brought to you by Alexander Enterprises for the front of this HFL defense. Cooper Levine, Austin Krigo, Ben Cook, Jack Harvey, and Ryan Gary, outside linebacker. We'll take a look at the rest of this HFL defense in a moment as it's 2nd and 7 for Batavia. High snap, and it's going to be immediately handed off and dropped. That's number 88, Nolan Smith, taking out Aiden Anderson in the backfield.
Great to see Nolan make that play, Peter.
And here's the rest of the HFL starting lineup on defense, brought to you by Alexander Enterprises, Alex Steinhoff, Andrew Wazenreed, Landon Hammond, Colton Miller, and Donnell Hall.
And Nolan Smith, as we know, had been injured at the beginning of the season. Kind of worked back into that game on homecoming against Geneva on the offensive side. He was back at his defensive end position last week and made a great play at the DN spot there to shed the blocker and get in the backfield.
And I know we had Ben Cook starting defensive tackle. It looks like Owen Eggert is out there for the Cougars as we have a pass rolling to his right as Javin McFarland tosses up, and it's going to be caught by number 8 for Batavia. That's Jagger Owens, the senior wide receiver.
Good job there by the Batavia offense. Owens had the hand up early. He went up and made a play. And McFarland threw the ball there. He threw it a little bit high, but he knew that his player, he trusted him, and Owens came down with it just outside the 10-yard line, so it's 1st and goal at the 11. Not 1st and goal, 1st and 10. The Blue Devils can get a first down without scoring.
So as you said, Steve, 1st and 10 for Batavia from a modified pistol formation. Going to be a handoff to Anderson to the right, cuts up, going to be tackled inside the 10 and about the 6-yard line, so about 5 yards there by Anderson.
Yep, 3 carries in the first 4 plays for the Blue Devils. And Batavia looking to establish that run off the side. Good job by the Cougars there, limiting it to about 3 yards.
So going to be second and 5.
2nd and 5 from the 6.
And there was some talk at the beginning of the season here for the Blue Devils about Javin McFarland. He was a wide out a season ago. He moved inside to quarterback, and he's definitely been the guy. Over 70% completion percentage, and he's got a handful of rushing touchdowns as well, as we have a handoff to Aiden Anderson, who powers ahead. Going to be just about short of the first down marker, going to be at the 2-yard line, we'll call it. So it's going to be 3rd and 1.
Yeah, that Batavia line, Peter, is getting some good push up there. You see 55 McQuethy, one of the top linemen there, 75 Cyberling coming around, and they pushed the Cougars back in the last couple of plays. And getting back to McFarland, he wasn't just a receiver. He had 12 touchdown catches for 500 yards last year, made All Greater Rochester a small team. And Coach Briggs, though, he told us he's 1,000% the guy for this job.
So on 3rd and 1, we have a pitch play to the left. It's Anderson trying to power ahead, but it's a gang of Cougars who push him backwards. It's going to be close. It looks like he just got back to the line of scrimmage. Nope, they're going to say he lost a yard, so it'll be 4th and 2.
And I think Alex Steinhoff might have been the first one there to stop that play. He and Nolan Smith, you got 8 and you got 88, and then everybody was there to rally to the ball. So that's the play the Cougars needed, almost like that Monroe game now. Now's the time for the defense to make a statement inside the 10-yard line.
So 4th and 2, ball at the HFL 3. Batavia shotgun. Looks like a design quarterback run, and it's a touchdown. Javin McFarland into the end zone, and Batavia strikes first.
Really good patience there, McFarland. You're right. It looked like there was a design run. HFL got some pressure. He got up the middle and just barely got it over the goal line, but the Blue Devils come out and get the touchdown on their first drive.
So if it wasn't a touchdown, it was at least a first down. Called a touchdown on the field. So that'll bring the PAT unit out on for Batavia. This is Julia Petrie. Snap good, hold good, kick up, and good. So 7-0, Batavia up over the Cougars. In fact, their last 2 meetings, it's been Batavia that has struck first.
Yep, and that's exactly what you want when you get the ball first. Nice read there by McFarland. He kind of rolled a little bit with Anderson, cut it back. There was a seam, and he was strong enough to get through the tackles and into the end zone. And
on our third viewing of that instant replay, I'll say that was not a designed quarterback run. I think that was McFarland just reading that defensive end. Supposed to be a rollout. Defensive end flies up the field, steps up into the open hole, and able to dive for the touchdown. So this upcoming kickoff brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120.
And for McFarland's, Peter, that's his 6th rushing touchdown of the year. He's obviously a dual threat. And one of the things when we talked to Coach Russ that was one of the concerns for the defense was McFarland's making plays on things that are off schedule. That play seemed to be a little bit off schedule from the original plan. He adapted well, got his team in the end zone.
And it was Carter McFarland who set the drive up with the huge return on the opening kickoff, got it inside the HFL 30.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about special teams coming into this game. That's a huge play on the opening kickoff, and obviously back in the Section 5 championship game, a huge special teams play by Batavia, 67-yard touchdown on a over the head of the punter snap, really turned the tide there. So obviously the third phase will be critical tonight as well. Julia Petrie, Peter, now 23 of 25 on PATs. We've talked a little bit about Avery Reynolds here at HFL, and Julia is a dual sport athlete also on the soccer team, and having football is her primary sport, and she's having a great season kicking the football.
And here's the kick by Petrie, end over end, going to be fielded at the 20 by the Cougars. Ball initially out on the turf, looks like it's a reverse play. This is Donnell Hall.
He's got a lane, Peter.
He's got two men to beat and the kicker, so he's going to be knocked out of bounds with our view.
Yeah, and it's right about the same spot Batavia started their first drive. A little trickery on the kickoff with the pitch and the reverse to Hall, but the Cougars are going to start the same place Batavia started at the opposing territory, right about the 35-yard line. So great answer for the Cougars. So
out trots this HFL offense led by junior quarterback Matt Meacham. You can see his stats so far through 6 games, 17 passing touchdowns, 122 quarterback rating, threw a handful of interceptions a week ago, and he's going to look to rebound tonight. Starting in great field position, they come out in empty set. Pass play, Meacham near side. This is number 8. That's Alex Steinhoff, I believe, for the Cougars. It is. So let's take a look at the offensive line here for HFL. Jack Harvey, Aaron Fasik, Carson Joint, Austin Kriego, and Ryan Gary are the 5 boys up front. Starting lineups brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. So a pass play on first down for HFL results in a gain of about 9. We'll call it 2nd and 1. Donnell Hall is the starting running back here. Handoff goes to him. Hall going to be met by a pair of Batavia Blue Devils at the line of scrimmage. Looks like it'll be no gain.
Yeah, I don't think that Hall got there, Peter, but a critical third down right here.
So let's take a look at the rest of the starting lineup for this HFL offense. Running back Ben Cook, Donnell Hall, wide receiver, Colton Miller, wide receiver, Andrew Wazenreed, Nolan Smith, also wide receivers. We'll see Donnell Hall lined up as a running back, and we'll also see number 33, Patrick Donahoe, lined up for the Cougars as a running back.
And I think that versatility is something that's worked well for HFL all year, and they'll count on that here tonight.
And the handoff goes to number 1. This is Cook, who's going to be tackled after the line to gain. So that'll be a Cougar first down, brought to you by HFMP. Treat yourself tomorrow and every Saturday with a slow-roasted prime rib dinner and all the fixins from HFMP for only $18.99 each.
Good job by the Cougars line right there. You see them triple teaming the 2 ends, giving Cook just enough space to get that 5-yard gain and keep the chains moving.
And he's a real physical back, averaging 6.4 yards per carry. It's actually Patrick Donahoe who's the leading carry running back for this HFL offense, 48 carries. As we have a pass play, Meacham looking far side. That's number 11, his favorite target, Andrew Wazenreed. Knocked out inside the 5-yard line, so it'll bring up 1st and goal for the HFL offense.
And, Peter, we asked Coach Russ how we thought Matt Meacham would come out after that 4-interception performance the other week, and he said he had no worries about him coming out and doing well. He threw for 320 yards on Saturday. His first 2 throws tonight have been on the money.
So the Cougars, in goal-to-goal situations a week ago, they did struggle a bit, so we'll have to see if they can put put something together. Ball is spotted at the 5-yard line of Batavia. 2 running backs in the backfield. Meacham hands off. This is Cook, who's going to be met and dropped in the backfield. Number 26 makes the stop. That's Aaron Bethel for the Batavia.
Yeah, Bethel's also one of the top tacklers for this Batavia team, and he just flies to the football. Coach Briggs really spoke highly of his inside backers, Bell and Garrett Schmidt, and right there, Bell shot the gap and made a play.
So 2nd and goal for the HFL offense.
I think one of the things that's going to be key tonight is just how Batavia is able to cover the HFL receivers, particularly when they spread the field like this. I think there are going to be opportunities for the Cougars.
Seneca in goal, handoff. Donahoe able to break the first tackle and then slips through a couple defenders, and he's tackled at about the 1 or 2 yard line. So 3rd and goal now for the Cougars.
Great work there by Donahoe. He broke the tackle of Schmidt in the backfield, kind of stayed low, pushed his way forward, and now it's going to be 3rd and 2, I believe. Definitely 2-down territory here for HFL. They want to answer that touchdown with a touchdown of their own.
Now the difference between the Batavia situation and the HFL situation is it's a goal-to-goal situation, so they don't get the benefit of a potential first down. As they come out in a 4-receiver set. It's Donnell Hall, who's lined up behind Matthew Meacham. He'll shift to Meacham's right. It's going to be a pass play. Meacham passes Hall off his fingertips and falls harmlessly to the turf.
So critical moment here, big 4th down. Pass was a little quick, hit Hall in the hands. You'd like to see him make that catch, but maybe the incompletion there may have saved the Cougars some yardage because there was a Batavia tackler a step or 2 in front of Hall, and that play actually, if it was a completion, could have lost yardage.
On 4th, and we'll call it 2 still. After the incompletion, Cougars going to have Patrick Donahoe check in. Got to think that they're going to maybe try and do a quick pass, slant, maybe get Meacham outside the pocket, try and buy him some time.
Well, and I'm looking at 88 Nolan Smith, who's 6'6", matched up against McFarland's on the outside. There's a big advantage there. He might high point him and have him go get the ball.
And right on cue, he's looking for.
I think that was Hall wide open across the back of the end zone.
Yeah, it was. I thought he was looking in the direction of Smith, but it was Hall streaking across the back line, and Meacham unable to connect there. So the Cougars, again, held scoreless.
Yeah, the design of that play was fantastic. They had what they wanted. They just weren't able to get Hall. It was a little rub play. Nobody went with Hall, and he was all alone. Just wasn't able to connect with the pass.
Yeah, ball sailed on Meacham just a tad. So the Cougars defense back out on the field, and it's Batavia offense who's going to be operating deep inside their own territory. Ball at the 2-yard line. Here's 1st and 10. Handoff Anderson. Anderson straight ahead. He'll get out towards the 10-yard line, so that'll give Batavia some breathing room here.
It's a great first down play if you're Batavia. You get that 5 or 6 yards, give yourself a little bit of room in case you get pushed back on the next play. And the thing that you're concerned with somebody like Aiden Anderson, if he gets through that first line of defense, he's got the potential to take it 90 yards.
That was a big block on the outside by number 75, Sheldon Siverlin.
Siverlin,
sophomore, 6'1", 275. And here's another handoff to Anderson, and this time it's Nolan Smith who's able to tackle him. It'll be a pickup of about a yard.
A little bit of misdirection there, but the Cougars weren't fooled. Inside handoff there to Anderson, and Nolan stayed home and was able to clean that up. Big 3rd and 2 play here for the Cougars. If they're able to get the stop and get the ball back, that first drive that ended just short won't be as painful.
You think we see another Anderson handoff, or put it in McFarland's hands?
I think it might be an RPO with McFarland's.
And here's a handoff. It is Anderson.
And he did get it.
So new set of downs for the Blue Devils. Ball at about the 15-yard line. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Batavia leading the Cougars 7-0.
Good job there. Good push by the line. You got 76 there. He was one of the new starters for Batavia tonight. He came in and great push getting that first down.
So Batavia in their shotgun formation, handoff Anderson, and he breaks through, powering ahead past the 30-yard line.
Aiden Anderson's starting to heat up here, Peter, and they are feeding him. There doesn't seem to be a pitch count at all right now. That's 5 plays in a row he's carried the ball, and he's moved it out from the 2 to the 33.
Yeah, we mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. One of the keys to the game was, is Anderson going to be contained? And like you said, we weren't sure if he was 100% coming in this one, but so far it's been Anderson early and often for Batavia.
And he's gotten the job done so far. We'll see if that can change here.
So first down, handoff again, Anderson tackled in the backfield by number 88. That's Nolan Smith for the Cougars.
Nolan off to a good start tonight. He's made 3 tackles in the backfield. He was right there, good form tackle. Anderson had nowhere to go.
And for the Cougars, that's what they kind of crave, is those early down tackle for losses where they really make their opponent have to kind of reevaluate their play calling, disrupting. You know, you want a couple yards every down. Second and 10 here for Batavia. Pass play, McFarland's throws it over the middle. It's going to be caught. That's number 24, Carter McFarland's. So he'll pick up about 3 or 4 yards.
And a really good job there by Carson Joint. The catch was made, but McFarland's really had nowhere to go. Carson Joint was a step or 2 away, really close, made a solid tackle. Now it's 3rd and long. Not that Batavia can't convert this, but 3rd and 7 is a lot tougher than 3rd and 3.
And so that's the first quarter. Batavia 7, HFL nothing. We'll take a quick commercial timeout here at HFL.
Honeoye Falls Marketplace. Fresh breads, donuts, special cakes made every day from scratch. Our butcher still cuts your meats to order. Doesn't get any better than that. Hot pizza, fish fries on Friday. Order your favorite sub right here. Organic foods and healthy choices. Honeoye Falls Marketplace. We're true blue local. Uncompromised quality close to home.
Tonight's game also brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. For nearly 30 years, Alexander Enterprises has been one of Rochester's most trusted contractors. They specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give Todd and the folks at Alexander Enterprises a call before you start your next project. Also, Bullfinch Fund. Fans who are sitting on IRA money that they don't know what to do with, or those who want to take control of their 401k money left in an old employer, should give Bullfinch a call at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. Did you know a working teenager can become a retirement millionaire just by starting a child IRA? Want to learn more? Call your local mutual fund, the Bullfinch Fund, at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. And last but not least, Meehan Architecture with the Meehan Architecture HFL Sports Update. Girls Soccer. On Wednesday, the division champions girls soccer team celebrated senior night with a 2-1 victory. Katie Adams scored both goals, assisted by Maria Karapides and Kayla Dudley. And the defense limited to Livonia to only 3 shots on goal. Boys soccer, a huge win last night on senior night over 8-win Greece Athena. They finished their regular season winning 5 straight. So special thanks to tonight's sponsors. Without them, this isn't possible. As we mentioned, it's going to be a little bit longer of timeouts tonight. It'll just give us some more time to chat, Steve.
Yeah, and Peter, that was a quick, crisp, really well-played first quarter. Both teams moved the ball well on offense. Batavia was able to get the goal line stop, and that's been the difference. But I think what we're seeing is what we signed up for so far. It's really, I think, incumbent on the HFL defense to get the stop here and give the offense a chance to get the ball back and tie the game. You do not want to go down by 2 scores and be chasing the rest of the night.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but it just felt like that first quarter flew by.
It did. And good plays by both teams on both sides of the ball. Big special teams, kickoff returns by, Donnell Hall and Carter McFarland's. And that's what you want to see in a game that's as talked about as this one was coming in. You want to see the players come out and play and let them decide it on the field. And at this point, that's what we're doing. We're seeing players making plays. No penalties either.
Yep, like you said, clean first quarter. So it'll be a critical 3rd and 7 here for Batavia inside their own territory.
We got Batavia with 4 first downs in the game through the first quarter, Peter, and HFL with 2.
Now, if you think Batavia, if it's 4th and short, is this a punting situation, or do they want to?
I think it is. Even at your own 45, I think you want to flip the field and make HFL drive on you. I think it's way too early to do that. I mean, your defense just came up with a big stop, even though, and HFL had a short field. They got 2 first downs, so make them go 80 instead of 35.
So start of the second quarter just about to begin. If you're joining us, Batavia started with the ball. Big opening kickoff return by Carter McFallens was capped off by Javen McFallens. Rushing touchdown. Cougars got the ball back. Big kick return of their own. Unable to score. And here's Batavia's second possession. 3rd and 7. No, it's going to be a pass play. And it's going to be caught. This is number 4.
That's Arroyo.
Vincent Arroyo down the sideline. And he's going to power into the end zone. Waiting for a call. And it is a touchdown. So a huge Batavia passing touchdown on 3rd and 7. And they're going to extend their lead now to 13 points.
Nice ball fake at the beginning by McFallens. He looks in. Arroyo's running a slant. The defender goes, misses the tackle. And then Arroyo's off to the races, Peter. And that he has been their top receiver all season with an outstanding 21 receptions for 382 yards coming in, and he got a bunch more there, about 58.
So here's the point after attempt by Petrie. Snap, hold, kick up, and it's good.
So that's a very big play to start this second quarter here, Peter. Batavia offense, McFallens hasn't thrown it much. But when they needed him to, it was a big play.
And look at the beginning there. You had Nolan Smith right up in McFallens' face. They talk it a lot about on Sundays with Mahomes and Allen, the launch angle that you have to throw that ball at. And he was able to work around Nolan Smith to get the ball on target. And as you mentioned, big score for the Blue Devils, really now shifting the pressure to HFL now. For the fans who watched a season ago in the regular season, Batavia did have a 2-score lead in the first half. And HFL was able to come back and ultimately win that game by a single point. Batavia obviously looking to keep the pedal to the metal tonight, but the Cougars will have the ball after this kickoff.
And when we talked to Coach Russ, one of his concerns was tackling, open field tackling, not giving up big plays. It was right up there with ball security on offense and tackling on defense. Missed tackle there led to a huge play for the Blue Devils.
So this kickoff will be brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120.
And I think we need to keep our eyes on Mr. Arroyo the rest of the game, Peter. He has 21 catches, that being a 66-yard touchdown for 428 yards. So he's over 20 yards a catch. And a lot of big play potential, as we saw right there. He knew what to do with the ball after he caught it.
And it can't be stressed enough how fast this Batavia team can get up. They're outscoring opponents 137-7 in the first half. Right now they're up 14-0 over the Cougars as Petrie has the ball lined up for the kickoff following the score. End over end deep kick. Then we'll see a fake reverse. This is number 3 for the Cougars, Connor Finn, who's going to keep it. But we have a flag down on the far side, probably in the area of holding.
That's what I would suspect. The Cougars did a little razzle-dazzle on the first kickoff, so Batavia was expecting it. Faked the handoff there. Finn had a nice lane. Looked like the hold happened around the 30-yard line. I think the Cougars will be starting just outside of their 20.
So the first penalty of the night is going to go against HFL holding. 10-yard spot foul. So that will push the Cougars all the way back to the 20-yard line. So they'll have to drive 80 yards here.
And for HFL, they don't have to get this all back in one play. And I think it's important to know that you need to stay within yourselves, execute, and as Coach Russ likes to say, do what you're coached to do. If they come out of this drive with a score, they're still in this game, and there's a lot of football to be played.
So here's a jet sweep to Donnell Hall to the near side. Good blocking, going to be tripped up, but not after
Gain of about 4.
Yeah, picked up about 4 yards there on first down.
We thought we might see Hall carry the ball a little bit more tonight. Ben Cook out there as a lead block on Arroyo. Then he's got 52. Krigo pushing his man down the field. Good start. 4 yards is not bad on first down.
2nd and 6 for the Cougars. Trips to the far side. Meacham in the shotgun, collects the low snap. He's going to throw a wide receiver screen to Hall. Struggled to pull it in. He's going to be tackled for a loss. So loss of 4. So Hall picked up 4 and then loses 4. So it's going to bring up 3rd and 10.
Yeah, that play just didn't happen the way the Cougars had hoped it would. A great play by the defensive end, number 80, Burgess, to come off his block, get outside, and make that tackle. I know that Donahoe had a big play on a screen pass last week at Monroe, but HFL historically has done really well with screen passes, but in the last couple of years it hasn't been as magical as maybe sometimes it has been in the past.
So an early big 3rd down for the Cougars. Empty set. Meacham from the gun, going to pass. Flushed out to his right. Gets it away as he's tackled, and it's going to be incomplete, looking in the direction of Colton Miller. So I imagine Trent Wagger will be trotting out on the field for HFL punting situation.
Great pressure there by Avion Bell, the inside linebacker. He came on the blitz, broke through the line, and there wasn't a lot Matt Meacham could do. He did a good job to elude the rush, try and make a play, but Batavia had that defense pretty well.
So Trent Wagger, another dual sport athlete, plays on the varsity soccer team for HFL. His heels at the 7-yard line. Here's the punt. And it's going to take a bounce over midfield.
Big Cougar bounce.
And roll out of bounds at about the 44-yard line.
So if you're the Cougars, you're happy with the way that bounced. And if you're Batavia, you're happy with the field position. You're up by 2 scores, and you've got 56 yards, almost plus yardage there.
And if you're Batavia, this is exactly what you want. You have an opportunity to go down and make this a 3-score game. They started with the ball. They scored on that possession. HFL will get the ball to start the second. But like I said earlier, if they can keep their foot on the gas,
they will do it. And I think, this is where having somebody like Aiden Anderson is just a huge benefit for the Blue Devils.
High snap, handoff to Carter McFallens.
And 6 yards on first down. So they went away from Anderson on that play. Anderson's been getting almost all of the carries. Mixed it up with McFallens, 5-yard gain on first down. 2nd and 5. Blue Devils are really in a good spot to do whatever they want right here.
And with the injury to Anderson, there's been a couple guys who have stepped up into that starting role. McFallens, one of them. He's had 21 rushes on the season for 8.8. But number 3, Cam McClintock, 48 rushers. He's the team's leading rusher, averaging 6.9 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns. As we have a handoff to Aiden Anderson, close to a first down.
Strong cutback there by Anderson. It looked like the Cougars might have had a good shot at him at midfield. Next thing you know, he's 3 yards downfield. And we asked both coaches, Peter, what makes Anderson special? And he does have elite speed, but it's that combination of both power and speed. He's comfortable running between the tackles. And Coach Russ even compared him a little bit to Barry Sanders with the way he can move his feet and make other tacklers miss.
So they'll call him a yard shy of the first down marker. 3rd and 1. Batavia inside HFL territory. Handoff. And after the initial stop, it was a good second effort by Anderson.
Power. That's where the power on display right there. That high snap, the timing was a little bit off there. Anderson looked like he was going to be stopped short.
He's met
Nolan
right
Smith
there.
got him there, but that leg drive just got him enough. And those are the kind of plays that, keep the clock moving, keep drives going. And, now if you're the HFL defense, you're starting to be on the field a little bit too. Batavia's got 6 first downs already, and we're 16 minutes into this game.
And a lot of these HFL players, they play both ways.
Especially up front, right? And we know that's where the game's won or lost in terms of getting the push and getting players like Anderson some space.
So 1st and 10, pass play, slings it out to the near side. Number 6 going to be dropped just inside the 40. So good pickup on 1st down.
Cole Grazia playing. That's his 12th catch of the season, so he's been a steady playmaker. Just a little swing pass, almost, extension of the run game. They've been pounding it inside a lot. Good cut back there to make a tackler miss. And, Batavia's first down, average yardage on first down, Peter, is probably like 6 or 7 yards. And if you're going to do that all night, you're going to be really successful.
2nd and 4 for Batavia. 2 running backs in the backfield. Going to be a handoff to Carter McFallens, who will elude a tackler and shuffle out of bounds, but not after until picking up the 1st down. So a new set of downs for the Blue Devils.
And we're seeing these Batavia offensive players make some plays with their feet and make HFL tacklers miss. That's the 3rd or 4th time they've extended a play and gotten a 1st down because the initial defender was unable to make a tackle. You're getting to the point where you need to stop or a turnover here if you're the Cougars to just slow this Batavia momentum down. Shotgun,
Wildcat formation, ball's on the turf, going to be recovered there by Carter McFallens. You were mentioning it, Steve. That's just what the Cougars needed, but Batavia lucks out, able to recover. It'll move back a couple yards, but they still retain possession.
And Carter McFallens is a playmaker. We saw it on the opening kickoff. Snap was a little bit high, but really that's the first negative play the Blue Devils have had on 1st down. Even though HFL was unable to come up with a turnover, now Batavia is looking at 2nd and 16, 2nd and 17 instead of 2nd and 4.
Couple of no gains, but like you said, first loss on 1st down.
So now you're in a position, if you're the Cougars, where you can make a couple plays and maybe get the ball back.
Batavia checks back into its normal set with McFallens in at quarterback. Designed quarterback draw play. Great call there by Batavia, but we do have a flag out on the play, so this might be coming back. Looks like it's going to be holding on the Blue Devils.
And there you have it. For if you're the Cougars, that's back-to-back plays where negative plays for Batavia turn into positive plays for the Cougars. Great call on that quarterback draw. We saw McFallens getting into open space and making positive yardage. But the penalty, I think it's probably right there on the outside, helped free him up. And now it's time to play some defense, 2nd and 26. Yeah, the ball's at the 46, the 1st down marker's at the 21, so it's 2nd and 25, 2nd and 26. I would watch it for a screen to Anderson or a short play here where maybe they try to bust it.
Shotgun for Batavia. It's going to be a pass play. McFallens loads up, throws it deep, looking to the far side. Ball is incomplete. Intended for number 6.
Grazia playing was the intended. Donnell Hall was right there, was able to make first contact with the ball. And Batavia took a shot.
Let's take another look at it. Donnell Hall with his back to the quarterback.
Yeah, I think ideally you'd like to see him turn his head there and see the ball and make the play. But the ball was able to make contact with him, no flag, 3rd and long. So, if you're the Cougars, you take that. If you're the Blue Devils, you might maybe mention a little maybe face guard, although there was no contact. So the only contact was with the ball.
So brings up 3rd and very long for the Blue Devils. Not a whole lot of plays in the playbook designed to get 25. Let's see what they got dialed up. Pass play. McFallens under pressure in the backfield, able to do elude one rusher. He's going to run out to the far sideline. Flag in the backfield. He's going to get about 15 plus. We got a face mask against HFL. That was maybe at the end of that play, and we had a play in the backfield. We'll have to see. We got a personal foul face mask. So they must have caught one when they were trying to bring him down in the backfield. Let's take another look. Unfortunately, it looks like he might be just out of the camera view. He faked out our camera operator, but it looked like Nolan Smith did have a handout. So don't have video evidence, but if we are to make some assumptions, that's
and that's a huge play because it was 3rd and 26, and now it's a first down. McFarland's made a positive gain, but he was still going to be 15 yards short of the first down. So that's a costly penalty, and the clock's continuing to roll to Peter towards halftime. We're under 5 minutes right now.
Well, the ball did go out of bounds on that play, so it temporarily stops the clock, but Batavia can start it again on this play as it's a rollout, and ball is hanging up in the air. Pass in the direction of Carter McFarland's.
Broken up by Colton Miller, number 9. So back-to-back series where the Cougars get a positive play on first down. Now they need to finish the job on the next 3 plays, possibly.
So clock stops because the incomplete pass.
And a lot of this credit, too, goes to Batavia. They've got good players that are making good plays. And, these teams that have been at the top of Class B for the last couple of years, and they have experience in big games, and we're seeing it tonight.
So 2nd and 10, shotgun, and we have some pre-snap motion. Waiting for the call. Dead ball spot, encroachment on the defense. So that'll give Batavia a free 5 yards. 2nd and 5 now for the Blue Devils.
And I think you said it perfectly, free 5 yards. And when you're inside the red zone, 5 yards is 25% of the way to the goal line.
2nd and 5, handoff. Anderson. Going to be short about a yard or two of the first down inside the 10-yard line.
But even when you think that Anderson is stopped, Peter, he just continues to move forward. He drives forward, he falls forward, and he moved the pile. Right there, he bounced off of one of his own linemen, number 75, Syverlin.
Pinball there, right off the back of his offensive lineman, and just able to find those rushing lanes, those small holes that open and close quite quickly.
And just he keeps generating positive plays.
3rd and 2.
Oh, missed that tackle.
And a big hit by Joint is able to stop McFarland's at about the 5-yard line.
So that'll set them up 1st and goal. Cougars had a shot early. McFarland's was able to elude it. Then got a big hit in the middle by Carson Joint, but protected the ball. 1st down. 1st and goal from the 6.
Joint's lucky there. He didn't have any arms out to try and tackle McFarland, so if he just bounced off that big hit, he could have kept moving. A couple of other Cougars there to clean it up.
Yeah, they
But as you mentioned, 1st and goal for Batavia, up 14-0. 3.5 to go in the 2nd quarter. Here's Anderson. Anderson tripped up inside the 5.
Good job by the interior of the Cougars defense there. Anderson only able to pick up 1 or 2 yards, which has been a win for them on 1st down.
Clock rolls. Both teams have yet to take a timeout. Batavia in the driver's seat. Ball at the 4-yard line. Can try and make this a 3-score game. Taking their time, McFarland's hands off. Anderson straight ahead. A lot of pushing by both.
I think he's inside
linemen.
the 1, but a little bit short.
Definitely short of the end zone.
And I think we see a little bit of that Batavia using that philosophy that HFL uses to spread the field and kind of isolate matchups. And less tacklers in the box, more room for Anderson to get closer to the goal line.
So under 2.5 to go. in the first half. No 2-minute warning to stop the clock. Looks like I formation. That's not something you see too often these days.
Yeah, but with the straight fullback lead, that might be looking. Oh.
And handoffs to Anderson, and he scores.
Big hole off of that left side for Anderson to go through. Initially, it looked like McFarland's had an awkward step coming away from center. But once Anderson got it, he had plenty of room to just cut into the end zone.
Yeah, operating under center. Looks like an offensive lineman might have stepped on his foot. Couldn't fully rotate to have a clean handoff, but he was able to get it to Anderson, and Anderson does what he finds best. Finds the hole, punches it in. Batavia 20, HFL nothing. Here's Petrie back on the field for the point after. Kicks up. She's 3 for 3 tonight. Batavia now 21. Cougars scoreless. They'll have about 2 minutes to work with 3 timeouts. We mentioned Batavia won the toss. They elected to receive, so the Cougars will get the ball to start the second half. Here's another look at that handoff to Anderson. And Batavia's rolling.
And Anderson certainly looks all right to me. You know, having missed a great deal of time earlier in the season, looks like he's been able to build up his strength, and he's done the bulk of the work here tonight. First touchdown for him, but he's been a factor in everything that Batavia's done on the offensive side of the ball.
So this upcoming kickoff brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120. So this is somewhat of a make-or-break possession here for the Cougars. They'd really like to try and get some points on the board going into halftime, just from a psychological standpoint, I think.
Absolutely. You want to leave the field with a positive feeling, and I think, you know, the word that comes to mind for me, Peter, is urgency. You know, we know that the Cougars were down by 13 points last year at Batavia and were able to get a touchdown at the end of the half, come back, win the second half, win the game. They were down 20-0 at Monroe last week, but did win the second half. So make a play here and just give yourselves a better chance to make a game of it in the second half.
And here is the kick after the touchdown. Petrie kicks it to the Cougars. This is number 11, Andrew Wazenreed, who's going to be tackled at the 30-yard line. So the Cougars are going to be tasked with driving 70 yards down the field. 1:58 to go in the first half. All 3 of their timeouts. High school football, the clock does stop.
On first downs. And the Cougars have not had a problem moving the ball in most games this year. The one thing that I think Batavia's done a good job with early is Wazenreed hasn't gotten involved too much yet. I think that, you know, we'll watch him closely here and see what he's able to do.
1st and 10, Meacham gonna throw. Throws it up, looking towards Smith, who can't get a hand on it. That was out towards midfield, incomplete pass. Runs only 5 seconds off the clock, 1:53. Here's another look at it.
And good coverage there by McFarland's. Now, unlike a lot of teams in Class B, Batavia has the similar athletic ability to match up with both Wazenreed and Smith. With 2 McFarland's in the defensive backfield, they're both really strong players. Cole Grazio playing had the matchup on Wazenreed. That play did a nice job. So, and, you know, obviously Batavia is expecting HFL to throw. So one of the hallmarks for the Cougars has been mixing the run in the pass, but right now the score is going to dictate that they're going to probably be throwing the ball quite a bit.
There was some confusion about the game ball. Switched between the Batavia sideline as we have a 2nd and 10. Meacham loading up near side looking for Wazenreed, and he just a little bit too far from him.
So now this becomes a critical play because it's 3rd and 10, and they've only burned 10 seconds off the clock. The Cougars need a first down to not only keep their hopes of scoring alive, but also to prevent Batavia from getting the ball back with 1.5 minutes to go and a chance to add on to their lead.
So the Cougars, like you said, want to pick this up, but Oh, they're going to come out with no running backs. I was saying maybe they try and go screen just to make an easy completion so that the clock runs and forces Batavia to think about taking one of their 3 timeouts, but low snap. Meacham picks it up, rockets it in the direction of Smith, and that's incomplete. Cougars looking for maybe a penalty. Nothing called. Looked like 2 guys just trying to make a play on the ball. Stops the clock.
And Batavia's defense really answered the challenge right there. That timing was slightly a little bit off. I thought McCollins did a good job there, kind of undercutting the route. I didn't see a penalty.
Yeah, no, that looked clean to me. So Wagger comes back on the field for HFL, going to be punting. Heels inside his own 20. Here's the kick, high, spiraling, and it's going to be fielded by number 4. And going to be dropped inside the 40-yard line. Not sure if a fair catch was called. A flag was thrown for potential.
The angle there is tight for us to see, but it looked like there was
catching interference. Or
yep, and really, if this is on HFL, that'll get Batavia close to midfield with 1.5 minutes to go.
So we have a trio. Well, now a quartet of officials talking this one over. This could be, like you said, this penalty will have some implications if it's against HFL. Batavia celebrating. Nope, it's going to be waved off.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that one was against Batavia, the way that they reacted.
I wondered if they thought there might have been early contact with the punt receiver. But the way Arroyo responded after he got the ball, he didn't act like he called the fair catch. He went into return mode. So if a player doesn't call a fair catch, it can't be fair catch interference. And, maybe, there was some thought that he didn't have an opportunity to catch the ball, but he caught the ball.
So the script is now flipped. It's Batavia with 1:26 and all 3 of their timeouts to go down and score. Pitch play to the far side is Anderson. Anderson stringed out, able to cut up, and he's driven down at about the 41-yard line.
And I like that play call by Batavia. You get the ball in Anderson's hands, see if he can break one. It's a pretty safe call. If you don't get a lot, you don't have to force the issue with the clock. If he breaks something off there, you go into a little bit more of a hurry-up mode and try to score again. But, if you're Batavia, you're content with letting the clock run out up 21-0 at the half.
Clock now under a minute. As you said, Batavia taking their time, huddled up. We'll see if they run any big plays or if we'll just see what they've been doing tonight, and that's giving the ball to Anderson. 2nd and 7, very high snap, and it's Anderson who's dropped in the backfield. He's going to lose 2. We'll see if HFL elects to do anything with their timeouts. And it looks like both teams are content with going to half here. 20 seconds.
That's probably the 4th tackle for loss that Nolan Smith has been involved with in this half. And the one thing I think we should keep our eye on in the second half is Batavia's had some high snaps, Peter. It hasn't cost them yet, but it could come into play later in this game if a turnover is manufactured out of that. But
so that is the first half. Batavia leading 3 scores, 21-0 over the home HFL Cougars. We'll take a brief commercial timeout. We'll look at first half highlights, and then we'll prime the second half of action here at HFL. Thanks for tuning in to the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinels broadcast of Class B Section 5 football.
Honeoye Falls Marketplace. Fresh breads, donuts, special cakes made every day from scratch. Our butcher still cuts your meats to order. Doesn't get any better than that. Hot pizza, fish fries on Friday. Order your favorite sub right here. Organic foods and healthy choices. Honeoye Falls Marketplace. We're true blue, local, uncompromised, quality close to home.
Tonight's game also brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. For nearly 30 years, Alexander Enterprises has been one of Rochester's most trusted contractors. They specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, New builds, decks, and painting. Give Todd and the folks at Alexander Enterprises a call before you start your next project at 624-9120. Also, Bullfinch Fund. Fans who are sitting on IRA money that they don't know what to do with, or those who want to take control of their 401k money left in an old employer, should give Bullfinch a call at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. Did you know a working teenager can become a retirement millionaire just by starting a child IRA? Want to learn more? Call your local mutual fund, the Bullfinch Fund, at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. Also, Meehan Architecture. The Meehan Architecture HFL Sports Update. For the first time since 2010, the HFL girls varsity tennis team is sectional champions. They finished their championship run with yet another upset, beating number 1 seed Geneva 5-0. Also, girls volleyball. The HFL girls varsity volleyball team hosts Eastridge this Monday for their final home match of the regular season. Also sponsoring tonight's game, Four Corners Eye Care and Optical. Now celebrating 30 years, Four Corners Eye Care and Optical provides full scope vision and medical eye care, as well as providing quality optical services in the convenient location of the Four Corners of Honeoye Falls. Dr. Kissick and his staff are proud to call HFL home all these years. Hundreds of local residents, including myself, are proud to call Dr. Kissick their optometrist. Give Dr. Kissick at Four Corners Eye Care and Optical a call at 624-2122. And Main Street Cafe. Main Street Cafe is your hometown cafe with a location in both the village of Honeoye Falls and the hamlet of Mendon. Wednesdays are now Cheesesteak Wednesdays at their Mendon location. Or if you are in the mood for something else, try their milkshakes, coffee, espresso, smoothies, paninis, salads, or pizza. Be sure to ask about their catering services and how they can help create a unique menu for your next special event. Main Street Cafe prides itself on their fresh, made-to-order food and daily specials. And last but not least, the Sentinel. The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, proudly serving the MHFL area since 1989. You can follow them along on their social media channels at MHFL Sentinel or visit their website, www.mhflsentinel.com, where they have local news stories and guest columns and commentaries and all sorts of local stuff. And, of course, they are our presenter tonight. We're fortunate to be able to broadcast Section 5 Class B football through the Sentinel as we have done all season long. This is our last regular season home game. Be sure to be on the lookout for any potential home sectional games at HFL. We'll be sure to try our best to carry those live. So we'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back with the second half highlights, and we might have some out-of-town scores to go over, and we'll talk about what to look for in the second half of action. So thanks again for tuning in to the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel live on YouTube. So the youth football and cheerleading teams here at the Honeoye Falls-Lima Central School District being recognized at the half. We mentioned that it's youth football night here at HFL. And waiting for the green light here, we're going to show, here's, for those who missed the complete first half, here's the 3 scoring plays that got us to 21-0. Starting on the opening drive, it's Javen McFarland's diving into the end zone to give Batavia the 7-0 lead.
And that play, Peter, was a 4th down conversion. Big 3rd down conversion here for Batavia. It's Vincent Arroyo making the catch at midfield, spinning out of a tackle, and heading straight for the end zone. 14-0 lead, that coming on the first play of the second quarter.
And then the third Batavia touchdown in the first half. Handoff to Aiden Anderson. Batavia jumps out 21-0 at half. Cougars will get the ball to start the second half. And we mentioned it on their last possession of the first half. Sense of urgency, they ended up going 3-and-out punting. Batavia had the ball last. They elected to just wind down the clock and go to the halftime intermission. We do have some out-of-town scores here. Steve, you want to give our fans an update?
Yeah, and looking at the Class B scoreboard tonight, Monroe, which is currently 4th in the power seedings, leads Geneva 22-8 at the half. And Wayne, which has won 4 straight games and it currently sat at number 3 in the Class B standings, has a 15-9 lead over Dansville, Wayland, Cohocton. So as we get closer to next week being the final week of the regular season, we remember that there are 10 teams in Class B. 8 will make the playoffs. The top 4 seeds will host playoff games. And as you alluded to, we're hoping that Cougars can finish in the top 4 so that we can be on the air the first week of the season, or the first week of the postseason. And checking the standings there, HFL currently number 2, Batavia currently number 1. And there's a lot of, it's really tight in the middle. And they use a power seeding structure in Section 5, so you really aren't 100% sure where things are going to fall until the season ends and the win percentage of opponents is calculated. And each team in Class B has one team that they don't play. So that really becomes a factor.
And that's helped because in the past where everybody was playing the exact same schedule, we had a coin flip in the spring of 2020 that decided who was going to be playing and who was going to be sitting out the postseason. So as you mentioned, Steve, coming into tonight, this is what the standings look like. So this is quite a critical game for the top 4. It'll certainly sort itself out. Obviously, if the score holds, Batavia will stay on top, but there might be some shuffling between those other 3 teams. Monroe beating HFL a week ago, HFL beating Wayne, but as you mentioned, the way that the seeding index works is
it's complicated. And
yeah,
you
don't
can't
know
get
how
that
it
to the
works.
end. But the one thing that we do know is that one of Monroe's losses was a forfeit to Newark Marion, which has a team with a lower winning percentage. So even though it wasn't a loss on the field, the points will be affected there. So I think it'll be difficult if Monroe and HFL end with the same record. For even though Monroe won head-to-head, I think there's a chance that HFL could come out on top. But it's really interesting, though, in the middle with the teams like Wayne and Palmyra Macedon. So that's really a conversation for next week, and then I believe a week from Sunday on the 23rd. The 23rd is when we'll get the official seedings, and then we'll learn early in that week if the Cougars have a home game and if we'll be able to broadcast it. So talking about the first half, Peter, the thing that really stood out to me is Batavia's execution was almost flawless. They got the opening kickoff, converted a 4th down to get that first touchdown. The Cougars answered with a strong kickoff return, had the ball at about the Batavia 35-yard line, got down inside the goal line. They were 3rd and goal from the 2, and got stopped on a run, had an open pass that they missed, and Batavia was able to actually then put together a 98-yard drive to go up by 2 scores.
Yeah, I think the other critical part was midway through that second quarter, where there was a couple of negative plays and penalties against Batavia. I think at one point it was 2nd and 25.
I think it was actually 3rd and 26, and then the face mask that resulted in the automatic first down. So you go from looking like you're going to be receiving a punt to having a first down at your 20-yard line, and then the Blue Devils were able to power it in and convert from there.
So both teams coming back out onto the field now. I would imagine they may add some time here to the clock.
I think we'll probably see a 3-minute warm-up period, and I think they'll do a meeting with the captains too before the second half. But that sense of urgency we talked about for the Cougars at the end of the first half, it's actually doubled right here, because now you need a score and a stop early in the third quarter just to get within one score and give yourself a pretty strong chance in the fourth quarter to make a game of it. Batavia ranked 8th, Peter. New York State Class B rankings coming into this week. Cougars were in the top 10 last week, fell back a little bit to 21st after the loss to Monroe. Monroe checks in at number 15 this week. And I think one of the takeaways from that Monroe HFL game last week is that there is more to Class B than just Batavia and HFL. And I think the coaches and those that follow it closely knew it, but maybe some fans had maybe forgotten that there were other teams that could step up and pull out wins and maybe be a factor in sectionals.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that HFL was talking about, maybe to themselves, maybe more so the fans, was that we lose to Monroe, but we're going to have to play them twice likely, or Batavia twice. There's going to be some team that there's a good chance if we're going to make a run, you're going to have to play, maybe both twice. So, Batavia loses the 1-point game against HFL last season, but they won the more important championship game at the end of October.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the things I like best about the Federation scheduling is that there are second chances. And for some of the stronger teams that maybe aren't pushed every week, when you play the other teams that are near the top of the table, as they say in soccer, you find out where you stand, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and then you basically get 3 or 4 weeks to improve and get that second chance to maybe come away with a brick.
So they did end up adding 3 minutes. We're down to 2 minutes to go on the halftime clock. Right now it seems to be just the HFL special teams players taking advantage of that added time. But when we do start the second half, it'll be Batavia kicking off to HFL. Blue Devils leading 21-0 over HFL. Was there something in particular that you would like to see HFL maybe go back to? Or do they kind of reset, try and maybe get a good run on first down, kind of go back to the basics, so to speak, to just try and get some momentum back?
Well, we know that when HFL is at its best on offense, it's because they're able to mix the run and the pass. The pass was there early. There were a couple of things, but right now, down 3 scores, I'm not anticipating seeing the mix of the running game. So what we really need to see is the passing game get in rhythm, and there are a lot of good route combinations using Wands and Reed and Smith, and then you work in a Colton Miller, maybe Donnell Hall. But I think it's more about finding a rhythm and moving the chains and just getting positive plays. And you need that positive momentum before you can start really getting specific, and then maybe coming back with a draw play, a screen, something like that to move the ball around a little bit.
And our Alexander Enterprises player to watch tonight on this HFL offense was quarterback Matt Meacham, who I got to think that there was a couple throws he could maybe wish he had back. There was definitely something that we were interested in, was how he would respond to the multi-interception game last Saturday. And it seems like there's just been a couple throws that have sailed on him. There's been some contested catches.
There's been some pressure on the line. He's been pushed out of the pocket a couple times. And, Coach Briggs used this phrase when we talked to him about it, having everybody do their 1/11th. And, I mean, that's really what the Cougars need to start doing too, because we all know that if 10 players are doing their job but one falls short, a play can blow up. So it's really about HFL coming out, having something positive here, happen on the first drive of the third quarter and then trying to build upon it.
And the opening kickoff of this second half will be brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120. And Petrie with the kick, short kick, going to be fielded by HFL, and immediately running out of bounds is number 2 for the Cougars. That's Landon Hammond. So the HFL offense will have decent starting field position at about their own, we'll call it 37-yard line.
So good start here for the Cougars. The other thing, Peter, that didn't happen in the first half and can be help tilt the game is neither team turned the ball over. So both coaches were preaching ball security leading up to the game. First half of the game, each team was able to follow through on it. We'll see if that continues in the second half. Trips to the bottom of your screen here for HFL. Going to be a handoff to Hall. Hall with some shifty moves will pick up about 6 yards there on first down. So there HFL was able to spread the field with its trip formation to the bottom. Good blocking in the middle. Hall's able to cut it back at the 40, push forward, and get a solid gain on first down.
So 2nd and 4 now for this HFL offense. Meacham from the shotgun doubles receiver set. Donnell Hall still in the backfield. He'll get the handoff again, but this time he's met by a trio of Batavia defenders, including
Brendan Burgess, the DN number 80.
Yeah,
he's the one that got there first, and similar to what we saw a little bit in the first half with Nolan Smith. Right there, Burgess came off the end, unblocked, and was able to turn that into a positive play for Batavia, negative play for HFL. So now you're 3rd and 7 again. This is a critical conversion for the Cougars.
And we see HFL come out and run 2 run plays to start the second half. Trips to the bottom. Donnell Hall in the backfield.
Screen.
Looks like a screen. Meacham lofts it up, going to be caught by Hall along the far sideline, gets first down, and then escorted out of bounds at midfield. That'll move the chains for the Cougars. This first down brought to you by HFMP. Make every day a little bit more special with the Stonewall Kitchen collection of brands available at HFMP.
So Cougars get what they want right there, the first down to keep the chains moving. It looked like Hall might have got caught up a little bit. You had 75 Seiberling right there with him. Good patience by both Meacham and Hall to execute that play, get the needed yardage, and keep the chains moving.
And that was a big completion there by Meacham. There was that certainly a tough pass there, moving backwards. Steps up, throws it, caught by Wazenreed, and he'll get up and get a first down. Another Cougar first down brought to you by HFMP. Haddock delivered from the Boston Fish Pier every week, making HFMP's Friday fish fry with 2 sides and fries all the more delicious.
So that's 2 plays in a row where the Cougars have gotten a completion and a first down, a shallow cross there. You see Wazenreed come in front of the linebacker, catches the ball, put in there nicely by Meacham, and now it's 1st and 10 at the 35. We get to that third key we posted early, finishing drives.
Here's Meacham again throwing. First read not there, able to step up, and he's going to be dragged down. He'll ultimately pick up about 2 yards. So those passing plays, the last 2, not that quarterback scramble, but completions that can help build Meacham's confidence going forward.
They were. Those last 2, everything was on schedule. There was time right there. It's just a good play by the defense. And you credit Matt for making a decision and getting something positive out of it rather than trying to force something down the field and maybe have a possible turnover.
2nd and 7 for HFL. Donnell Hall to Meacham's left. Collects the snap, is going to hand off. Hall with a couple moves in the backfield, and he'll ultimately pick up about 3-4 yards. Looked like he might have been stopped there in the backfield.
I think we saw the shiftiness there a little bit, Peter. There, nice block there too by number 55 for the Cougars. That was Aaron Fasick just put the Dion right a pancake block right there, and that was able to get Hall a little bit more time to cut back and find some yardage. But really good job there by Fasick in finishing the block and having a great push after initial contact.
And it looks like, is this a Wildcat formation for
looks
HFL?
Like Patrick Donahoe's the quarterback, right?
Yep, Donahoe collects a snap, keeps it himself, powers ahead. He's going to be about 3 yards short of the first down. So a fourth down conversion here for HFL.
And that's first time we've seen the Wildcat tonight from the Cougars. Donahoe, top rusher on the team. You feel good with the ball in his hands. He made a nice read there. 4th and 3, obviously it's a play that the Cougars need to execute in order to keep this comeback bid headed in the right direction.
Now they bring in Ben Cook. If it's not a handoff to him, it's got to be a high completion type throw. We have some pre-snap movement, a jump by the Blue Devils. So an offside is going to give the Cougars a first down. This first down brought to you by HFMP. We bake sub rolls from scratch every day so that every bite of an HFMP submarine sandwich is bursting with flavor.
And there's the break the Cougars needed right there. 4th down and 3, you get the 5-yard penalty. It looked like Matt did fluctuate, though. We're going Wildcat again here.
So Donahoe, the quarterback of this Wildcat situation, hands off to Hall, who passes it to Meacham, loads it up deep, got a man, Wazenreed, it's caught. Touchdown, HFL.
Razzle-dazzle from the playbook of Dan Hoyt.
And that's a play that the Cougar offense loves to run. I remember probably 3 years ago, Reese Joint lining up in that wide receiver position and throwing that ball, and this time it's Matt Meacham. Right on the money, and it's Andrew Wazenreed right in the bucket. Cougars able to capitalize on the opening possession of this second half. Here's Wagger, kick up. Kick is no good. And last year, if you recall that Batavia HFL game, what was the difference, Steve?
1 point and a missed extra point. But, there you go, though, the HFL play call. That was just we know that they've kept some things under wraps for the first few games of the season. Shotgun, Wildcat, Donnell Helm, Matt Meacham out wide, throws the ball across the field, perfectly falls into the hands of Andrew Wazenreed, and that's everything the Cougars needed on that drive. And, they didn't get the extra point, but 7:41 to go in the third, they got a chance.
And the Cougars, for the first time tonight, find the Meehan Architecture end zone, unable to kick the point after, so they stay at 6. 21-6 is the score. We'll have a kickoff here by HFL, brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialized in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120.
And I think we've seen that play maybe once a year in the 3 seasons we've done the Cougars. I think they ran it in the opener against Bishop Kearney last year with Brody Young throwing that pass. But let's talk about the season Andrew Wazenreed's having for a second. That's his 9th touchdown catch of the season, Peter, in 6.5 games. Nolan Smith was out at the beginning of the season. There were some questions as to how this Cougars passing attack would operate, and Andrew Wazenreed has really come into his own.
Yeah, both him and Meacham juniors, so we'll see a whole nother season of them likely at HFL. And the chemistry that they had, I think it shocked. We didn't know how well they were gonna vibe with one another out on the field. As HFL kicking off here, we'll see if Batavia can answer with a touchdown of their own to keep the 3-score game, or rather return to a 3-score game. HFL expecting maybe some trickery here by the HFL kicking team. Batavia able to field it. This is number 4. Makes a man miss.
Arroyo, man, he's shown some big play capability all night long. And one of the reasons the Cougars do that little pop kick is to limit the return yardage and get the coverage unit down there. But Arroyo did a nice job picking up probably an extra 10 yards. So right now the pendulum shifts to the defense. Can the Cougars get really their first stop of the Blue Devils tonight? Yes, Batavia ran out the clock at the end of the first half, but the 3 drives where they tried to score in the first half, they did score.
And Batavia has been really successful thus far running the ball. They've been able to just chip away, make manageable third downs, throw the ball when they need to, and really move the ball all night on HFL. As we have a handoff to Carter McFallens, able to duck around and
Great
get some help from
yardage
his
after.
lineman. He'll pass midfield.
He got more there than it looked like there was in the beginning, too. A lot of yards after contact. McFarland has only carried 2 or 3 times tonight, but it looks like the Cougars have a shot at him, right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
and he's
Ryan
able
Gary tried to wrap him up, but he couldn't.
He slipped right through, and then we talked about it in the first half that your 2nd and 9 turns into 2nd and 4, and that's just much more enviable down and distance for the offense.
And as soon as that missed tackle occurred, Ryan Gary tapping his chest, that's on me. And we have an option here. McFarland pitches it out to Aiden Anderson, who's going to be dropped in the backfield. Loss of about 2 for Batavia. So it'll be 3rd and 5 now.
Credit where credit is due right there. Nolan Smith does a really good job here maintaining the edge. He reads the quarterback and steps out on Anderson, and he really just makes that play all by himself. Donnell Hall was there for support, but that's Nolan Smith making a big difference on defense. So here we go, right? 3rd and 6. Cougars haven't come up with this play all night. If they're going to get back in it, now is the time.
Batavia, 3rd and 6 from their own 48. Shotgun formation. Heavy to the far side. We got a flag on the ground. Lofts one up, and it looks like this play was just blown dead.
So that makes you think it's pre-snap on the offense, which will push Batavia back 5 yards and make it 3rd and 11.
Potentially a
illegal
formation. Looked like everyone was there was no.
Somebody may have been off the line, or
Yeah. There was no pre-snap motion, so we didn't have 2 guys moving out.
So that play was not blown dead, though.
It looked like everyone quit, though.
It did, but that's why they tell you to play to the whistle, I guess, right, Peter?
So HFL.
And here's something that we've only seen the first time Batavia's punted, but McFarland's the quarterback is also the punter. So, and as we know from the game last year with Jesse Reinhardt, that you got to be careful.
And the kick is away. Spiraling kick bounces over the 20-yard line, then works its way back to the 20. So the Cougars get the ball. Yeah, for your Blue Devil fans, quite probably one of those plays that are going to go down in Batavia football lore history.
All time, right? Yeah, Jesse Reinhardt to Caden Marucci. It only went in the books as a 67-yard touchdown, but that ball was thrown inside the 10-yard line and was really more like a 90-yard touchdown. You need next-gen stats on that play, and obviously a play. It's the Cougars don't like to talk about, but it was Batavia making the best of it here. But the Cougars right here now, this is the drive, giving themselves a chance.
1st and 10, handoff to, no, it's a keeper. It's Meacham. He's going to slide, depending on the spot where he gave himself up. It's going to be close, and they are going to move the chains.
I will say I think that's generous, Peter. I thought he maybe started his slide at about the 28, but if you're down by 15 points in a game, you'll take it.
Yeah, he definitely slid early. So, as you mentioned, generous first down, but first down nonetheless. Brought to you by Honeoye Falls Marketplace. And the ball is on the ground, picked up by Meacham, and he's just trying to make something with nothing, and the Cougars are going to lose 4.
Yeah, the mishandled snap there, the timing was off from the beginning, and then the defensive end, Bronx Buckholz. He's been a really solid player for the Blue Devils as a sophomore. Was able to converge there and bring Meacham down. So now you're 2nd and 13. You got to make a couple plays here to move the chains.
So backwards on first down. Brings up 2nd and 14 for HFL, and it looks like they are back in the Wildcat formation. Patrick Donahoe. Seems like there's some confusion. He was expecting someone on the far sideline. HFL has to take a timeout.
I did see Nolan Smith come off the field before that play, and I wonder if they got the substitution in or if the Cougars maybe only had 10 players.
So the first timeout of the game, this timeout brought to you by Bullfinch Fund. Fans who are sitting on IRA money that they don't know what to do with, or those who want to take control of their 401k money left at an old employer should give Bullfinch a call at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right, Invest right here. Did you know a working teenager can become a retirement millionaire just by starting a child IRA? Want to learn more? Call your local mutual fund, the Bullfinch Fund, at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund, invest right here. So, whatever the confusion was, HFL burns its first timeout of the second half.
Yeah, and ideally you want to have that timeout later in the game, but you cannot afford to have another negative play if you're the Cougars. This 2nd and 14 is key drive, and you want to make sure you have everything lined up the way you want it to give yourself the best chance at success. But HFL does look rejuvenated here in the second half, Peter. And it makes us, and we'll have to pay a little closer attention to maybe what the Cougars are doing defensively when Batavia gets the ball. Coach Russ told us that they were down 20-0 at Monroe last week. The adjustments his team made at halftime, they basically changed the whole defense at halftime. So down 21-0 at the half, Cougars came out. Offense did its job to get the touchdown. Now, you wonder what kind of other adjustments may have been made in that HFL at the intermission.
And in talking with both of these coaching staffs, they love these chess matches. Briggs, Russ, both alumni of their respective teams and schools, and they both started coaching the same year. Both had their first seasons as head coaches in 2012. Pass play, Meacham rolls out to his left, throws it up top, and it's going to be tipped at the last minute by number 1. Javen McFarland's makes a huge play.
Yeah, it looked like Colton Miller was open at the beginning, but a really nice play here by Matt Meacham to buy himself some time and try to make something happen. That's a heck of a throw. That's probably 40 yards, and Miller was open. McFarland's probably, I think he left Nolan Smith and just made a play on the ball.
Yeah, and that ball right on the money there, and to make that throw, to torque your body, to get that downfield, I mean, that's one of the reasons HFL loves Meacham.
And there's not many kids in any class of Section 5 that can make that throw.
So 3rd and 14, Meacham to throw, and it's caught. Wazenreed got a lot of green grass in front of him. The 20, the 15, 10, 5, touchdown! HFL, huge touchdown there.
74 yards, and we've got ourselves a ball game. That was almost like the Arroyo touchdown in the first half for Batavia. There was a little bit of hesitation as to who had the ball. Here's Wanzenreed. Nice throw by Meacham. Looks like the defender McFarland's made a play on it. It was over his hands. It's in the hands of Wanzenreed, and he's off to the races. 21-12. I would expect the Cougars probably to go for 2 here, Peter.
Yep, Andrew Wanzenreed finding the Meehan Architecture end zone, as it looks like Cougars do come out in a 2-point conversion offense. Meacham with the play call, trots out. Looks like we got Patrick Donahoe in at tailback. So spread the field here, 2 receivers to each side. So here's the 2-point attempt. And we got a penalty. Delay of game on the offense, going to move them back 5.
That's a little bit painful right there when it turns a 2.5-yard play into a 7.5-yard play. And, with this being a TV game and some of the delays, I think makes sense that there's confusion. But the Cougars are still going to go for 2, Peter, keeping that offense on the field.
So this is an untimed down, 2-point conversion. I know we have 3rd and 14 on it, but it is a 2-point. And off the hands of Nolan Smith. So score 21, Blue Devils, 12, Cougars. Take one more look at that touchdown. As you mentioned, reminiscent to one of Batavia's earlier.
But just a nice ball over the top, and then you've got Wanzenreed running down the seam, and he showed a lot of speed. We talked about him after the first touchdown and the magic that he and Meacham have developed. He's had, a 23-yard touchdown. He's got 109 yards in receptions just on 2 touchdowns here in the third quarter, 10 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe the delay of game would change HFL's strategy, to bring because now it stays a 2-score game.
Right. And, you get to 13, you still need the 8. It's early, but, maybe some of that, too, is that you want to shut Batavia out the rest of the way, but there's no guarantee that you're going to shut Batavia out the rest of the way. So if you score 2 and get your 2-point conversions, that gets you to 28. If they score 1 and get 7, that gets them to 28.
This kickoff brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathroom, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120. And this is Ryan Gary driving.
Vincent Arroyo to the turf.
And for Batavia, this is a bit of a big offensive possession from a psychological standpoint.
It is. There's not going to be a lot of possessions in the rest of this game. Each team only had Batavia had 4 in the first half. HFL had 3. Cougars have had 2 here at the start of the third quarter. This is Batavia's second, and Cougars did a nice job forcing them off the field, 3 and out the last time. Even if you don't score here, if you're the Blue Devils, you want to grind out a couple first downs to take this game towards the fourth quarter.
So 1st and 10 for Batavia. Handoff Anderson, met in the backfield, dropped immediately. Looks like he might have fallen ahead for a gain of 1. Take another look here.
And a nice job there by 52. Krigo right at the point of attack, and then you've got, I believe it was number 51 for HFL, Owen Englert down at the bottom of that pile. Could have been 61 Jack Harvey, but I think it was 51.
2nd and 9 for the Blue Devils. McFarland's from the gun, pre-snap motion. Both teams moved, but it might have been the HFL defender who jumped first.
I just saw the linesman come in and give the traveling sign, though, so it looks like it's going to go against Batavia, which is another fortunate bounce for the Cougars. I thought maybe the defense moved first, too, Peter.
Don't think we have an instant replay of that because there was no snap, but we'll have to trust the officials on the field.
So everything that didn't go the Cougars' way in the first half, we've seen a couple things, the tide turned back towards the Cougars in the second half. Still a lot of plays left to be made, being down 9 points.
So Batavia trips to the far side. Looks like a quarterback run play. Here's Javin McFarland's, and he falls ahead. He'll be about, call it 2 yards short of the first down, so he picks up 12 there on 2nd down.
And that's one thing about makes him so dangerous is that you have to give so much respect to Aiden Anderson and the receivers down the field that it gives Javin McFarland matchup advantages. And every time he's tucked the ball and run tonight, he's made positive plays. So 3rd and 2.
I think you got to be given this. I mean, if I had a telestrator, circle number 44, and he's going to be stopped in the backfield.
And that's Nolan Smith. What an impact he's had on defense. The HFL defensive line, obviously Batavia's scored 3 touchdowns, and Anderson's had some big plays, but Nolan Smith has been a handful for them tonight.
And it looks like Batavia keeps their offense out on the field.
Well, let's wait for the formation,
before,
though, because McFarland's is the punter. So we'll see how they come out. They don't have a lot of subs. I would be surprised if they went for it, but maybe they line up and shift.
They're coming out. 4th and 2 inside HFL territory. McFarland's under center, trying to get the defense to jump, and he does. That was really, really close, but the flag is pulled out, and that's a first down for the Blue Devils.
And that's the same thing that the Cougars benefited for on their first drive. 4th down, that's one where you tell your lineman, you want to fire off the ball, but you got to hold your water, right?
And the most frustrating thing as a coach is the guy who jumped for the Cougars is the one who's right in front of the ball.
Absolutely. That will be picked apart in the film session, I'm sure.
So about a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. New set of downs for the Blue Devils. Here's a handoff to Aiden Anderson. Anderson with a whole lot of room in front of him. Anderson still on his feet inside the 30. He'll just shuffle towards the far sideline. Tackled out of bounds at the 30. We did have a flag very early on, and it's pointed in the direction of the Blue Devils. Yes, it is. It's holding. So that big run by Aiden Anderson is going to be wiped off the board.
So obviously the first down off of that, you give the ball to Anderson, see if he can make a play. Flag is right at the first down marker, so it looks like the Cougars will face the 1st and 20 once this is marked off.
There's been a couple times where Batavia has found themselves in this situation, and they've been able to convert.
Only the 3rd penalty tonight on the Blue Devils' 2nd holding call. Cougars to this point have committed 4 penalties. So pretty clean game between 2 really good teams. And, we've yet to see a turnover, Peter, too. So both teams have had the ball security that they've been looking for.
So the clock is at 44 seconds. Rolling clock. Batavia will have to snap the ball, but this could be the last play of the 3rd quarter. We have a rollout. It's McFarland's under pressure, tosses it up, and that's going to be a completion on the near side to number 6.
Cole Grazio playing, and really impressive adjustment here by McFarland's. It's a run pass. You've got Nolan Smith in the passing lane for the first receiver. Looks off, gets the ball outside to Grazio playing, who's able to pick up 10 yards, basically get the penalty back.
So brings up 2nd and 10 for Batavia. They get the penalty yardage back on that play. Stops the clock as well. 28 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Batavia at their own 48. Here's a handoff to Anderson. Anderson making men miss. Anderson still on his feet, inside the 30, inside the 25. Took a whole bunch of HFL players to finally get him down. No flags on this play. Big first down, Blue Devils.
And another high snap, but Aiden Anderson gets a little bit of an alley, makes one tackler miss, breaks a 2nd tackle at the 40, and then just powers ahead. And he's a special player. He's been strong all night. And on 2nd and 10, that's a play where you really need to wrap him up.
Yeah, you cannot arm tackle number 44 of Batavia. And that will do it for the 3rd quarter. HFL scores 12 points during the 3rd quarter to make it 21-12. We'll take a quick commercial timeout.
Honeoye Falls Marketplace. Fresh breads, donuts, special cakes made every day from scratch. Our butcher still cuts your meats to order. Doesn't get any better than that. Hot pizza, fish fries on Friday. Order your favorite sub right here. Organic foods and healthy choices. Honeoye Falls Marketplace. We're true blue, local, uncompromised, quality close to home.
Tonight's game also brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. For nearly 30 years, Alexander Enterprises has been one of Rochester's most trusted contractors. They specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give Todd and the folks at Alexander Enterprises a call before you start your next project at 624-9120. Also, Bullfinch Fund. Fans who are sitting on IRA money that they don't know what to do with, or those who want to take control of their 401k money left to an old employer, should give Bullfinch a call at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. Do you know a working teenager can become a retirement millionaire just by starting a child IRA? Want to learn more? Call your local mutual fund, the Bullfinch Fund, at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. And last but not least, Meehan Architecture. With the Meehan Architecture HFL Sports Update, girls swimming and diving celebrated senior night on Tuesday with a 110-52 win against Brockport. Recap from Wednesday's cross-country races. The girls were able to beat Mendon, but fell short versus Sutherland in a 5-point loss. The boys fell to Mendon and Sutherland in a hard-fought race. Championship season is on the horizon. So, still waiting for play to resume here. Start of the 4th quarter. Blue Devils with the ball into HFL territory. They are just about at the, call it, HFL 24-yard line.
And this is their most impressive drive of the second half. Peter Batavia's come up with a couple of key 3rd down conversions. one fourth down conversion on an HFL penalty, and then we just saw them overcome a holding penalty with a nice strong run by Aiden Anderson. I think if you're Batavia right here, you're looking to throw a knockout punch, get up by 16 points, and really make the Cougars put them in a tight spot.
So still waiting for play to resume. Extended timeouts here tonight.
Looks like they're coming back. They've got the red light in the end zone with the yellow light, and once that goes green, I think we'll be good to go.
Great night for football. Clear skies.
Yeah, it's October. This is perfect October evening here in Western New York.
First play of the fourth quarter. Batavia, handoff, Anderson, up the middle. Anderson breaks an arm tackle, and he's going to be tackled inside the 10-yard line. First down, Batavia. Going to be first and goal from the 2-yard line.
In these last two plays, you've seen everything that Aiden Anderson is about. Right there, breaks the tackle, gets to the second level, pulls away with that speed, and only a strong effort by Carson Joint to bring him down inside the 5 prevented the touchdown. So we're first and goal from the 3, Peter. I think more Anderson might be on the way.
And it is Anderson with the handoff, churning legs, waiting for a call. Touchdown, Batavia.
How did that pile keep moving? I mean, it looked like that the Cougars had a good shot at stopping that play, but just a lot of heart and a lot of grit by that Batavia offensive line and by Aiden Anderson to burrow his way into the end zone.
Second effort. You can see there's an HFL player at the bottom of the pile who had his legs tied up, but just relentless.
Yeah, relentless, and I mean, he's certainly a difference maker for these Blue Devils. They're a very good team with him, without him, and they're even better with him.
High snap, able to bring it down, kick up, and good. So the score now 28-12. 16-point game. Stays at a 2-score game. Take one more look. You can just see.
It looked like one of the HFL defenders was coming in to clean up. He ended up getting a lineman instead of getting Anderson. And then the next thing you know, Anderson plows his way into the end zone. Two touchdowns for him tonight.
Big night for Anderson. This kickoff will be brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120. So the Cougars, if they want to try and keep their hopes alive of completing a comeback, they're going to have to score on this possession.
They will, and you probably want to score relatively quickly within 3 or 4 minutes to give yourselves 7 minutes a chance so you don't have to go onside right away. You could go surprise onside, but you got to get this touchdown first and then get the 2-point conversion. And the 2-point conversion is a must now. So that'll dictate really how this game plays out the rest of the way.
Yeah, and if you're Batavia, you got that 16-point lead, so they have to do it twice just to tie.
Right,
and so that's assuming your offense doesn't find the end zone or kick a field goal in the next 11 and a half.
Scored on 4 of its 5 drives, so their offense, I think, super efficient tonight. I mean, if you're Coach Briggs and you're looking at his team and how they perform tonight, you've got to be really happy with just the business-like approach that they've taken. And he said that's kind of been their hallmark. They show up every day, they work hard, and they get the job done.
So Julia Petrie has it lined up. Batavia 28, HFL 12. Just under 11 and a half to go in the fourth quarter. You're watching the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel live on YouTube. End-over-end kick. Andrew Wazenreed with it. He's going to be tackled at the 32-yard line.
Good strong kick by Petrie, down to the 15-yard line. So 45 yards in the air, look good. Nice return by Wanzenreed. And then I think we'll look at HFL to maybe go tempo here. The one thing that we have seen in the second half, though, is that connection reestablished between Meacham and Andrew Wanzenreed. They seem to have found a rhythm. We'll see what Batavia does with that kind of coverage, and maybe if it opens things up for maybe a Nolan Smith or a Colton Miller.
HFL did take a timeout in the third quarter, so they're down to 2. 1st and 10. Handoff to Ben Cook. Cook tackled after a pickup of about a yard or 2.
And those were the 2 inside backers for Batavia, 54 Garrett Schmidt and 26 Avion Bethel, and really did their job there, read their keys, and minimized that gain. Because I do think HFL has to run once in a while just to keep the Cougars on, or to keep the Blue Devils honest. Maybe we're looking to catch them by surprise and pop something there.
2nd and 9 for HFL. Doubles formation. Meacham from the gun, and we have pre-snap penalty. Looks like in the neighborhood of encroachment, and it is encroachment on the defense.
A fancy term for that, neutral zone infraction, Peter?
Throwing the football dictionary at me tonight, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe one of the HFL receivers had moved, but maybe that was a reaction to one of the defenders.
Might be lined up in the neutral zone because I didn't see anyone move pre-snap. So 2nd and 4 now for HFL. Meacham to throw. Meacham loads it up, and it's going to be incomplete.
Looking for Wanzenreed downfield. I think the timing was disrupted there a little bit, and maybe even Meacham. Meacham got hit by somebody as he went to throw. It might have thrown that ball off course a little bit.
Potentially fortunate that he did, because it was the Batavia defender. I believe that was number 3, Cam McClintock, who was the person nearest to that pass.
So 3rd and 4, obviously 2-down territory here for the Cougars if they're unable to convert on this play.
3rd and 4. Pass play. Meacham throws it over the middle, and it's incomplete. Off the fingertips of Donnell Hall. Stops the clock. Got to think HFL will be keeping the offense on the field, but nope, they're going to bring out Wagger.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to punt, though. We've seen HFL run a couple different plays out of this, so. And then we see Donnell Hall, one of their top playmakers, going out on the field in an eligible receiver position.
And they shift. Nolan Smith comes under center. Looks like they might try and draw him offside. Doesn't look like it's going to work. And HFL has to burn its 2nd timeout of the half.
Looks like Coach Russ is having a discussion with an official where he may not be entirely happy with something.
Yeah, I don't know why you take the timeout. Why not just take the 5 yards?
I think maybe in his heart of hearts he knows that they might have to go for it if they want to have their best chance of tying this thing up. I think that, HFL offense has been aggressive. Maybe they're going to catch Batavia off guard there, get the penalty like they have earlier in the game. But Batavia, well coached, well disciplined there. I would not be surprised if the Cougars came out with the offense here, even though we see Trent Wager on the outside of that huddle.
This timeout brought to you by Bullfinch Fund. Fans who are sitting on IRA money that they don't know what to do with, or those who want to take control of their 401k money left at an old employer, should give Bullfinch a call at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. Did you know a working teenager can become a retirement millionaire just by starting a child IRA? Want to learn more? Call your local mutual fund, the Bullfinch Fund, at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. So they take the timeout and come right back out in the punt formation.
Yep. And, maybe it's just there's enough time on the clock, 10:08, where you get to stop, and then you look for the 2 quick scores. It's a tough spot inside your own 40.
Batavia with no one deep. They're not buying this by the Cougars.
No, short snap. It's Donahoe.
Donahoe up the near sideline. It's going to be really close. Depend on the spot. He's got to get the 40 1.
And it's the near side, and the Cougars bench is right in front of us. You have Nolan Smith indicating a first down. You have the HFL coaching staff indicating first down, but we have nothing from the officials yet.
They're going to get a measurement, so they'll have to bring the sticks all the way over to where the ball is spotted. If we could get a replay, I think we're not going to be able to see it because of the HFL team standing on the sideline, but ball's on the left hand, wasn't stretched out.
Just outside the 40. You never know what can happen bringing these chains 50 yards across the field, and it's inexact, but I am going to...
I can't even see where the ball... I mean, based on where they're standing, I got to think it's about the 41, but we're not going to be able to get a good view. And HFL, right in front of the HFL bench, like you said, they could see it, and it's marked as a first down, so a very, very
gutsy call.
Close one.
We've gotten to know Coach Russ pretty well, and maybe the best chance there was with the special teams rather than the regular offense. But knowing, the scoring situation of this game, I was going to be very surprised if they were just going to give the ball back to Batavia.
Especially with the way Batavia's moved the ball tonight and been able to score. Like you said, they've scored on all but one of their possessions. So after the fourth down special teams first down, that first down brought to you by HFMP, Cougars come out, passing formation. Meacham throws, caught Wazenreed. He'll be cut down, ball's on the ground, recovered by Batavia.
A couple things going on there, too. Javen McFarland slow to get up. Almost looked like Wazenreed was down by contact for a while.
Let's take another look here. I think that they initially called him down on the field, but I don't think he was down. We have a flag. I don't know. Officials still meeting.
And the HFL offense is still on the field.
Personal foul.
Head
targeting. Contact. So that'll move the ball another 15 yards. It looked like that ball was moving before Wazenreed was down. I don't know how that is impacted by the penalty.
Yeah, I think maybe if we could take one more look at it and see, because there is a lot to go on there. You've got Wazenreed crossing over. Defender stays home, and maybe it's the defender coming off the top. I can't tell exactly when the ball came out.
And here's the handoff here on first down. If we could get back to the live view. Just missed HFL run play, loss of a yard. Luckily, not a touchdown. If you tuned in for the Bears-Commanders game last night, where they missed most of that play.
That's two great Thursday night games in a row, though, right, Peter? The last 2 weeks.
Got to give the big market some airtime. So 2nd and 11. 4 receiver set. Meacham throws it. Caught to the near side. This is number 8, Alex Steinhoff, able to make the first man miss. Up the sideline, inside the 20, and he's walked out of bounds.
And we do get the late flag.
We have a flag. We had the official right there was shaking his head like no penalty, but it was the back judge who throws the flag. And from where we're standing, this is at our backs, so we can't even get a clear sight of the field here.
Yeah, and the continuation of the play, we did have the one official right on top of it that was shaking his head no, but the other official came in and did assess the personal foul. And that's the 5th penalty called on Batavia here in the second half. But Steinhoff with a great job here on the screen, came back. There's a lot of space in the open field. Able to miss 2 tacklers, a little bit of friendly fire. Batavia defense took one of their players out and then marched down. Cougars on the march right here, Peter.
So Cougar first down brought to you by Honeoye Falls Marketplace. 1st and goal, ball just inside the 10-yard line. Handoff Donahoe, powers ahead inside the 10. Going to be just short, about a yard short. So that previous play, first down brought to you by Honeoye Falls Marketplace. From sheet cakes to cookie cakes, the bake shop at HFMP can custom decorate a delicious and beautiful cake for any occasion.
So now we're starting to see a couple of run plays by HFL, and I think that the pass has helped to set that up. In the first half, there wasn't enough of a rhythm on the offense to mix like that, but nice seam there for Patrick Donahoe, and the Cougars are knocking on the door with the ball at the 1 right here.
So they're going to go 3 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side, so an empty set trying to spread Batavia out. Looks like initially there wasn't a man on the inside player, and it's a design quarterback draw play, and Meacham's going to lose a yard.
So Bronx Buckholz with a nice read there. The Batavia did keep 6 players in the box, but the Cougars with 5 linemen, so there was one man who was going to be unblocked, and that was Buckholz, and he came in and he made a great play for his defense, pushed the Cougars back 2 yards.
So the Cougars 3rd and goal from the 2. If they do score here, they're going to have to go for 2 as well. So they got to have 2 scoring plays from inside the Batavia 5. Here's Meacham from the gun. Ben Cook to his right. Rolls out to his right. Waits, fires, caught. Nolan Smith back of the end zone. Cougars score. They're now at 18. 10-point game, 7:27 to go in the 4th quarter. Nolan Smith finding the Meehan Architecture end zone.
And Matt Meacham made this play with both his arms and his legs. He's rolling out and then stops, throws back across his body through the Batavia defense. Nolan Smith waiting right there, puts it away. Cougars are in business.
So here's the 2-point attempt to try and make this an 8-point game. Cougars trips receivers to the near side. Cook behind Meacham. Nolan Smith on an island to the far side. Cook to Meacham's right. Here's the snap. Looks, lofts it up. Looking for Smith. Caught. Waiting for the signal, and it's good. The 2-point conversion is good. HFL makes it a 1-possession game. 7:27 to go in the 4th quarter. Batavia 28, HFL 20.
Great play here. Nice throw by Matt. He high points it to Nolan, who's got strong coverage on him. That's just Nolan Smith being 6'6" and making a great adjustment on the ball and giving the Cougars within 1 here. 1 possession, 28-20. And Nolan Smith, Peter, we asked Coach Russ about him specifically in our pregame chat, and he said he thought he was close to 100%. We asked what we thought we would see from him tonight, and he said Nolan's going to be Nolan, and he has been an impact player on both sides of the ball.
So this upcoming kickoff brought to you by Alexander Enterprises. Alexander Enterprises specialize in home remodeling, renovations, additions, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, new builds, decks, and painting. Give them a call before you start your next project at 624-9120.
And also, you know, one of the takeaways from the Monroe game was Coach Russ wanted to see his team come out and fight. With 7.5 minutes left here in the 4th quarter, they've got a chance to come all the way back. But they've also outscored Batavia 20-8 here in the second half, and we have seen the Cougars come to life a little bit. And regardless of the outcome of this game, that's encouraging if you're an HFL fan. And Matt Meacham, we talked about in the first half, there's maybe a couple of throws that he might have wanted to have back. He's made those throws in the second half.
So the Cougars scoring 20 points in the second half. 28-20 the score. Batavia going to put a whole lot of guys up near the 10-yard line from the kick. They're not going to take any chances.
What's your hunch here? I'm kind of thinking the Cougars kick it deep.
I think you kick it deep.
You know, you've got to get the stop, and then you've got to score with the 8. But do you want to give Batavia the ball at midfield? Although Trent is not really lining up to kick.
So it's a high end over end kick, going to take a no bounce. It's going to be fielded. And the ball will be at the 31-yard line. So first player out here tonight on the field was Trent Wagger, and those are the kicks he was doing. It's those 30-yard
between,
end over end, trying to get it over the heads of the first 10 or 9 and hoping that it's not far enough for the back 1 or 2. So the Batavia Blue Devils offense, if they score here, you got to think it's going to be tough for HFL in the fourth quarter. Here we go, handoff, Anderson. Anderson tackled, still churning legs.
Well, he's fun to watch.
It's like he's not being tackled in the second half. It's just the forward progress has been deemed to be stopped. I mean, the Cougars are just, you got 4, maybe 5 guys, and he's still slightly moving forward there.
And maybe Coach Briggs said it best. He's all business. He understands the job and just works his tail off. He has speed and power. He can break away, and he can lower his shoulders. And I think we've seen all of that tonight.
2nd and 5, handoff Anderson. And Anderson is tackled at the 39-yard line. So it's going to be 3rd and short for the Blue Devils.
And, I mean, that's a good play on both sides of the ball. We saw Carson Joint get low and trip Anderson up and finish him off. But if you're Batavia, you've gotten 7 yards, 8 yards on your first 2 plays. 4 yards of play works. And this is a play where the defense has got to stay onside and still get a push and disrupt things in that Batavia backfield if they're going to get the 3 and out.
So 3rd and 2. Crowd getting loud here at James Dollar Athletic Stadium. Handoff, Anderson, first down. He needed 2 and he got 3. New set of downs for the Blue Devils.
And that's just a good football player making a play. You know, he's their best. They gave him the ball, and he was able to get everything he needed. And Ryan Gary was there to meet him. And like you said, Peter, he needed 2 and he got 3.
So now under 6 to go here. Clock should be rolling inside of 5 minutes. Wouldn't be surprised if Batavia starts to slow things down, take their time, make sure they got the right personnel, they got the play call, and line up and watch that back judge to put his hand up. And this is a handoff to number 24. This is Carter McFarland's. And he gets a first down, gain of 12 there, and he's now, and the Batavia offense are now operating in HFL territory.
We talk a lot about HFL having the change of pace backs with Cook and Donahoe and Hall, and looks like the Blue Devils went for a little change of pace there with Carter McFarland. He doesn't carry the ball a lot, but he's very effective when he does, and back-to-back first downs. Now the urgency increases for the Cougars. They need to find a way to get a stop here pretty soon.
And credit to the Batavia offensive line. They've really pushed the second level of this HFL defense under pressure, having to make these plays. The linebackers, the DBs on Anderson, and now Carter McFarland's. 1st and 10. Handoff to Carter McFarland's, and he'll be tripped, but he'll pick up
4 or 5 yards.
Call it 4.
So, I mean, and this is a little bit about we mentioned early in the game, too, is these teams have not had to play their starters for 4 quarters a lot. And here we are with 4 minutes to go in the game, and a lot of the players up front have worked hard on both sides of the ball. And now where's that energy, where's that ability to make that push come from, and who's going to have the advantage there? Last couple of plays, it's been Batavia.
HFL has 1 timeout left, although a Batavia score of any kind going to probably put this one out of reach. We're at the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter. 2nd and 7. Handoff. Patience there by Carter McFarland's, able to pick up 2 yards. And we have a timeout. So HFL takes their final timeout. 3:46 to go in the fourth quarter. This timeout brought to you by Bullfinch Fund. Fans who are sitting on IRA money that they don't know what to do with, or those who want to take control of their 401k money left in an old employer, should give Bullfinch a call at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here. Did you know a working teenager can become a retirement millionaire just by starting a child IRA? Want to learn more? Call your local mutual fund, the Bullfinch Fund, at 624-3150. Bullfinch Fund. Invest right here.
So the 3rd and 5 chess match right here, Peter. You got Coach Briggs' offense against Coach Russ's defense.
And I got to imagine for Batavia, this is probably 4-down territory. Probably a little bit too far out of the range of their field goal kickers.
And you also need to think that it's either going to be Javen McFarland's or Aiden Anderson with the ball, probably twice. You know, this is a point in the game where each side trusts its top playmakers to make a play. I don't think we're going to see anything cute. I think it's going to be Batavia lining up with its best play, and the telling the HFL defense, here we are, come stop us.
So 3rd and 5. Ball at the HFL 40-yard line. Crowd again getting loud. Here we go. Here's the snap. Handoff to Anderson. Anderson cuts ahead and slides down smartly inside the 30.
You got to know that was talked about in the Batavia timeout too, right? Because I think Anderson could have scored right there. And by getting the 15 yards and a fresh set of downs, that's going to take another extra couple minutes off the clock there. Just a smart heads-up play by Aiden Anderson.
And something that HFL is going to be thinking about later is the timeout that was taken in the 3rd quarter when they didn't have the right personnel on the Wildcat. And then they took the timeout before that punting situation where they ended up going for it. So they have no timeouts left. Batavia is inside the 30-yard line. Like I said, they're just going to wait for that rear official to put his hand up to know when to snap the ball. Inside of 3 minutes now. Handoff. Anderson going to be stopped. Ball's on the ground. Ball's on the ground, but it looks like Batavia able to recover.
Wow. And I was just about to say, Peter, right now the Cougars' best hope is probably to force a turnover, and that we haven't had one all night. And Anderson has run hard after the whistle. That's a great job by HFL of stripping the football. It just bounced back to Batavia. That was the type of play that they needed. They just weren't able to fall on top of it.
Not sure who it was for Batavia who was Johnny on the spot, but huge recovery there by the Blue Devils, able to retain possession as we close in on the 2-minute mark of the 4th quarter. 2nd and 15 now for the Blue Devils.
And if you're HFL, you've got to almost try to do the same thing. You think Anderson's going to get the ball, you got to, or McFarland's.
And we got pre-snap penalty, false start. Looked like it was the quarterback.
So right now, though,
early.
it's tackle the football, right? You're not just tackling the player, you're tackling the football.
So that does stop the clock with 2:10 to go. Makes it 2nd and 20. Batavia is just going to probably run around here. But HFL maybe does have a chance to get the ball back, but with no timeouts and
a lot of real estate to cover.
Yeah.
They need to tackle the football and hope to catch a break here.
2nd and 20.
We've seen some high snaps too, Peter. There's a lot can happen.
Clock is now rolling. So they can just wait to snap the ball.
And they are managing the clock expertly.
And immediately dropped in the backfield is Carter McFarland's.
So we're going to be at 3rd and 20 with about 1:40 left. The Cougars maybe, Peter, will have 45, 50 seconds if they're able to get the stop here.
That's Austin Kriego making the huge play in the backfield for HFL. Now 90 seconds. 90 seconds. It's
third
and very long. Call it 3rd and 25. But they don't have to, they're not going to snap the ball until they absolutely have to.
Yeah, the Cougars may get 1 or 2 plays unless they get a turnover here.
So now under a minute to go. Batavia high snap, handoff. Carter McFarland's tackled after about a yard. Now 50 seconds. So they'll be able to wind this one down.
I think they wind it down and take the penalty, right? You're right.
And they might just run around. They might just run backwards. I mean, depending on how low they can get this down to, there's no play clock that we can look at. This is all being kept by the officials on the field.
And Batavia has done a great job of basically killing the clock here. But you have to think that they need the official has his hand up in the air now, so they're probably in the final.
So
5,
4, 3, 2, 1. So 10 seconds, make it 9 seconds. So 9 seconds. Does Batavia take the snap and just run around?
For 9 seconds?
For 9 seconds?
9 seconds is a long time to do that. And a lot can go wrong. But a lot can go wrong on a block punt, too. I would think that they would maybe punt and try to get the ball to roll slowly inside deep in HFL territory and have the clock run out on the punt.
You got to think timeout management is going to be the talk if you're an HFL fan.
You wish you had one more in your pocket. That's for sure. But that 3rd and 5 play where Aiden Anderson broke through, got the first down, and was smart enough to slide. And you know that they probably told him that in the huddle, and that was discussed. There were probably 2.5, 3 minutes left in the game when that play happened. What a play that was, and how much that influenced the game too.
And between the snaps, it has gotten quite quiet. And we are just behind the HFL home fan section. And they're going to add a second back on the clock. So it's going to be 10 seconds.
And I think, Peter, 10 seconds is too long to run around with the ball. You get tackled, even at midfield, Matt Meacham has the arm strength to make a throw.
So Batavia comes out in a shotgun formation, 2 tight end set.
This could be a quick kick.
High snap, and
he is going to run around and just throw it.
McFarland's going to haul it up.
And it's caught for a touchdown.
Caught for a touchdown with 2 seconds to go. Clock runs out. Probably should be a second or two left, but
wow,
that's going to do it.
Cole Grazio playing. What a play there. We talked about Matt Meacham having arm strength. Great job by McFarland. Throws that from his own 48 over the head right to the goal line. That's 50 yards in the air. Cole Grazio playing adjusts to the ball, catches it, falls into the end zone.
And they are having them run the point after attempt. The clock reads
0, but we did see them put 1 more second back on the clock. We'll see what the officials walking towards the home sideline, and I think he's saying 1 second goes back on the clock. Maybe 2. Yeah, he's holding up 2 fingers, Peter.
So 2 seconds added back on. This is a point after attempt by Batavia. Trying to make it a 15-point lead.
Julia Petrie trying to go 5 for 5.
Kick is up. Kick is good. Batavia 35, HFL 20. There is 1 second. 1 second left on the play clock. Just a squib kick here should be able to take care of that second. Here's another look at that touchdown. The sealer.
Yeah, Batavia got everything it wanted on that play, right? We thought maybe they're going to try to run out the clock, and McFarland's, I don't know if that's as far as he can throw it, but 50 yards in the air. Great adjustment by Grazio playing on the ball. And Batavia is going to do something that no team has done since 2017, and that's leave Honeoye Falls-Lima with a win on this football field. That's somebody other than the Cougars. That has not happened since 2017.
And they had to fight hard for it.
They did.
Were up. They were up 3 scores at halftime, 21-0. The Cougars made a game out of it. We'll see, barring anything crazy on this last second of play. Although I got to think that Batavia's just going to keep this one dribbling on the turf.
And I agree, but I think there are positives to come away for both teams from this game. Obviously, Batavia had the great start and came away with a win, but the way the Cougars responded in the second half gave themselves a fighting chance. That's something that you can carry over into the final week of the regular season and into sectionals.
Smart play there by the Cougars. They let that one just bounce out of bounds. No time taken off. There will be one final play.
And I think, the Cougars are going to learn a lot about themselves tonight. And that, some of the things that went wrong in the first half, you need to adjust and correct those. But you come out with that fire, that passion, and the execution that you have in the second half, you can play with anybody in Class B.
So let's see if they just elect to take a knee. It looks like they're kind of in that formation. No, maybe yes.
They're behind center, I think. Yeah, you don't want to get anybody hurt. This was a well-played game by both sides. You see the mutual respect for the teams and the coaches, and who would be surprised if these two teams played again?
I mean, as a fan of Class B, I think everybody would like to see these two teams play again sometime this season. Again, this game was hyped up. There's a lot of media attention. Those games don't always live up to the hype. At halftime, we were looking at each other saying,
"What are we going to get here?"
Yeah.
Yep.
And credit to the Cougars to make a game out of this.
Yeah.
HFL, I think, answered a lot of questions, able to bounce back after a tough defeat at Monroe. Obviously, they don't walk away with the win, and there are no moral victories in football, but they should at least have some confidence coming out of this game, as we'll roll the highlights from tonight before we sign off. So getting the scoring started in the first quarter on the first drive was the quarterback for Batavia, number 1, Javen McFarlands.
On a fourth down play, fourth and inside the goal line. Then they come back. McFarlands hits Vincent Arroyo at midfield, spins out of a tackle, and takes off toward the end zone. Arroyo, big play receiver for the Blue Devils, puts his team in front 14-0 on the first play of the second quarter.
Then next, it was running back Aiden Anderson, number 44, for Batavia.
2 minutes left in the half, and then we get the razzle-dazzle, the Cougars, the opening drive of the second half. Matt Meacham, 23 yards to Andrew Wanzenreed on a little bit of a wildcat flea flicker, and that really rejuvenated the Cougars, as did this play.
This was a big reception by Andrew Wanzenreed, yards after the catch, able to stroll into the end zone to give the Cougars 12 points, failed 2-point conversion.
Then here we are, second play of the fourth quarter. Great run by Aiden Anderson. The Batavia running back had a huge game. Looked like he was stopped. He plowed forward from 3 yards out, put the Blue Devils up 28-12. Then HFL rallies. Matt Meacham finds Nolan Smith in the end zone, 28-18, and then a 2-point pass. Nolan Smith with a great catch. And then you get your last play Hail Mary here.
Yep. With a second left on the clock after this play, heaved up a deep ball, and Batavia hauls it in to make this 35-20, 15-point win for the Blue Devils. They stay undefeated, 7-0. They'll probably stay atop, most likely. We were joking during halftime about not knowing how the power index works, but yes, they will stay at this top spot going into the last week of the regular season. They'll be versus Newark Marion next weekend. HFL will be traveling to Dansville, Wayland, Cohocton. So with one last weekend, we'll see how those things sort themselves out. Despite the loss, still likely HFL has a shot at hosting a sectional playoff. Before we sign off, I want to recognize our crew tonight. Operating the camera, Chris Carosa. On graphics, Oliver Hansen. And the replay man, Luke Mendrick. Without them, without our sponsors, me and Steve wouldn't get to talk for 3 hours about football. I've had a lot of fun this regular season. I'm hoping for maybe a postseason game. But if not, thanks for everyone for tuning in this season to the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. Live on YouTube. Steve, any closing thoughts?
I think, just a little bit of gratitude, Peter. This is the game that we had been looking to all season. And it was basically everything we thought it would be. It came down to the very end. Each team had a chance. The margin may look a little bit greater than it was at the end. And if you're HFL, I think you look back to missed opportunities in the first half on the opening drive. They got stopped on 4th down. A couple of plays there, but then you really hang your hat on the way you played in the second half. You pushed the number 8 team in the state to the final play. And if you can do that, you can make noise in sectionals. It's about taking this game, learning from it, and going down, taking care of business next week and making a run in sectionals. In Batavia, they've been good for a long time. And like we said, it'd be great to see them again. And it'd be interesting to see how Monroe factors into these Class B playoffs. I think that they made their statement last week, and Monroe's probably the team that nobody wants to play because they can make plays and win games too.
So Blue Devils 35, Cougars 20. Until next time, I'm Peter Carosa, joined alongside Steve Bradley. Thanks for tuning in to the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel live on YouTube.